What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
4WS. Chapter 63 Create a King Key. Was targeted by Sunayashiro Tokinada. Advertise here. Captain, I've thought it through very clearly. I want to join Captain Jashiro's 13th squad. It was beyond everyone's expectations. Bai Chen did not choose the Juban team that everyone thinks is the most likely. Instead, it was the 13th squad that had nothing to do with him before. So, the moment Bai Chen's voice fell, the atrium shrouded by the forest suddenly fell into silence. The captain is also good. The rest of the captains are also good. It also includes those officers and soldiers on the periphery. After hearing the answer given by Bai Chen, almost everyone had the same unexpected expression of surprise. I even suspected that I had heard it wrong. Ha! Rangaku, tell me, please, which team did Bai Chen say he would choose? Shiba was dumbfounded. Not only was his heart broken, but he also had a feeling of being abandoned by true love. And the face was filled with the original. That surefire smug smile. Also because of the sudden blow, he froze completely in an instant. Although it was named, but Matsumoto Rangaku was also not slowed down. Under the long golden wavy hair, Matsumoto Rangaku's beautiful eyes are wide open, with an expression of disbelief. Looking into Bai Chen's eyes, contains a variety of complex emotions. Both surprised. There is another doubt. There is also obvious regret. And, the dissatisfaction unique to women, and the resentful eyes. The way Matsumoto Rangaku is angry at the moment. Like a dissatisfied boudoir. Obviously something I've been looking forward to for a long time. But suddenly Bai Chen broke the appointment. Thinking of not being able to spend 457 times with Bai Chen every day in the future. Matsumoto Rangaku's mentality collapsed in an instant. And even she didn't reply. Shiba's heart also exploded. The two of them never figured out why Bai Chen suddenly jumped. This doesn't make sense at all. Bai Chen, are you sure? Choose Team 13. The selection of team members is a solemn matter, and you can't make jokes. The captain reminded in a deep voice. He was also very surprised. And mistakenly believed that Bai Chen was outspoken, and accidentally made a slip of the tongue. So giving Bai Chen a second chance. 2. The result is unchanged. Still the same answer. Even this time, when speaking. Bai Chen also deliberately wrapped the sound with Reiatsu. In order to let my words be more clearly conveyed to the audience. Yes, I'm sure, I choose to join Team 13. Without any hesitation, Bai Chen's attitude is very firm. Even after expressing his position, he deliberately stared sideways. Toward Jashiro Yukitake, and the acquaintance behind him, Shiba Kyan. They nodded their heads in the air, expressing their sincerity. Actually, the reason why Bai Chen chose the 13th team. On the one hand, it is because Shiba Kyan is the enlightener who embarked on the Shinigami road by himself. Originally in West Rukongai, it was accompanied by Shiba Kyan. He will come to Spiritual Arts Academy and sign up for fall admissions. Of course, this reason, it's actually only a fraction of it. What Bai Chen really valued was the backside of Wang Xian's frail body. That once the Shen Gua ceremony is started, then you can summon the one-eyed god tier possession. And transformed into the black one-eyed pattern of the right hand of the spirit Deb King. 89 euros. What really attracted Bai Chen? It is the power of the Soul King hidden in Jashiro Yukitake. Although for anyone, even Jashiro Yukitake himself cannot hand over this power, and needs to rely on the power of the Spirit King's right hand to continue his life. Bai Chen is different. His wood-style occult can suppress and loot Reiatsu. And besides fighting, Bai Chen can also use the healing method. Utilize the ability of Muji healing to heal the lung organs for Jashiro Yukitake. Take this opportunity to secretly absorb the power of King Ling's right hand. This is Bai Chen's plan. Of course, it's just an idea. It doesn't mean you will be successful. However, through the ninja period, the performance of Senju Hashirama and Yamato. Bai Chen thinks this possibility is great. Even if only a small part of the power can be plundered. That's enough. Because Bai Chen has enough confidence. With the powerful life energy of Ultimate Sage Body. Once integrated into the power of the Spirit King. His spiritual body will be completely reborn. He will receive an earth-shaking strengthening transformation. This process. But in the original plot, Aizen until he was imprisoned in the hell without end. One thing that has never been done. #BT. Create. Wang Jian. Sublimation of the soul. Get the right to freely enter the palace of the Soul King. And now, Bai Chen only needs to be close to Jashiro Yukitake. You can easily do things that Aizen can't do. At the same time. With Bai Chen's reconfirmation, everyone also understood that Bai Chen had already made up his mind. Make up your mind to follow Jashiro Yukitake. Therefore. Even if it's a pity. I also wish I could snatch people face to face. However, considering the sophistication of the world, the other captains did not speak too much in the follow-up. Instead, he shook his head helplessly and sighed, expressing regret for the missed opportunity. Only Jashiro Yukitake. Because of the surprise from the sky, it leads to emotional excitement. The originally pale complexion also instantly became rosy. Bai Chen, thank you for your trust. In the days to come, please teach each other more. Obviously the identity of the captain. But when talking with Bai Chen, Jashiro Yukitake kept his posture very low. Not only is there no shelf at all, instead, he put Bai Chen on an equal footing with himself. Such an attitude can't help but make people have a kind of. Bai Chen is not here to assist him. Instead, it's the feeling of coming to the 13th Division to replace Jashiro Yukitake. Captain Jashiro, you are welcome. In the days to come, I will take on my due responsibilities and make contributions to Team 13. Bai Chen nodded in response with a smile. Afterwards, the formalities ended, and this grand enlistment ceremony began. It also came to the end stage. Now that Bai Chen has made a choice. Then from now on, he will officially join the 13th squad. The subsequent distribution of positions and seats will be discussed by Jashiro Yukitake and Shiba Kyan. After the loud announcement, the captain tapped on the stick, officially announcing the end of the meeting. Captain Shinigami and adjutants leave in an orderly manner. Quickly, most of the day passed. As time passed, the news about Bai Chen's team selection quickly spread throughout the jingling court in a short period of time. Except Gote 13 all Shinigami, Kido people, stealth maneuvers, and nobles of different ranks living in Noble Street. Everyone knows this. It also includes the heads of the 4 nobles. The Sunayashiro family in charge of the Great Book Corridor. At this time, located in the depths of Noble Street. The busiest area, inside the luxurious manor mansion where the Sunayashiro family resides. Inside one of the magnificent houses. Bai Chen. His wooden Zanpakuto has a destructive power comparable to Ryujin Jaka. It's unbelievable that the mere forest and would possess such powerful power. A voice full of doubts, breaking the quiet atmosphere in the house. The eyelids are narrow and elongated. The bangs are long and hanging obliquely. White aristocratic clothing outside, batch wrapped in a green silk coat. The current head of the Sunayashiro family was once a member of Gote 13. And decades ago, because of killing Tusen Kanami's best friend Jie Kwang. And Sunayashiro Tokinada, who has long been deprived of his team membership. Now, he is squinting his eyes slightly. With a thoughtful expression, he lowered his head and stared at the information above. The name, Bai Chen. And his wood line Zanpakuto, wood dragon. The head of the house. What's your opinion on Bai Chen? An attendant behind him bowed his head and asked respectfully. Idea, for a wood Zanpakuto that I had never heard of before and that turned out overnight. If there is a chance, I would really like to get up close, meet Bai Chen and watch it. Sunayashiro Tokinada was talking, shaking his head pretending to be regretful, he sighed and said. It's a pity, because I have been deprived of the team membership long ago, I am not allowed to step into a team at will. It's a pity to miss this grand performance. Finished speaking. Sunayashiro Tokinada bowed his head. A gloom flashed past. At the same time, he shifted his gaze to the one next to the information. A handful of unique-looking Zanpakuto tops. Gorgeous mirror code. Passed down by the Sunayashiro family for generations, one of the oldest Zanpakuto in the Soul Society. This Zanpakuto, although little known in the Soul Society. But it has immense power. Once liberated, Yanluo Jingdian's blade will disappear. And the holder can permanently imitate and copy other people's Zanpakuto. There is not even a quantitative limit. Instead, it can imitate multiple Zanpakuto at the same time in one go. Of course, while endowed with great power, the price of using Yanluo Jingdian is also heavy. When using Zanpakuto, the soul of the owner will be exploited moment by moment. To be honest, it is to overdraw your life in exchange for strength. Of course, as long as it can be copied to the powerful Zanpakuto, then, Yanluo Jingdian will bring a huge increase in combat power. This is Sunayashiro Tokinada's plan at this moment. In God Bai Chen's Zanpakuto, Wooden Dragon. It is a top Zanpakuto comparable to Ryujin Jaka. Sunayashiro Tokinada couldn't help but be moved. His cruel and vicious character made him subconsciously set aside his own ambitions. It hit Bai Chen. Sunayashiro Tokinada hopes to replicate the power of the Wood Dragon. P.S. In the official novel, Sunayashiro Tokinada hires killers to assassinate all qualified clansmen before becoming the head of the family. Let me change it here, he will be the head of the family when he comes out. Otherwise, he is not eligible to use Yanluo Jingdian. Chapter 64 Battle for the Seat. Challenge the Shiba Kyan. Advertise here. The next day, early in the morning. After changing into a black dead bully outfit, Bai Chen sorted out his attire for a while, and then set off for the team building of the 13th Division. Since the day before, he chose to join the 13th Division. And the news about joining the team, it has already spread throughout Seraiti. And it also aroused extensive discussions, and heated discussions among everyone. Therefore, for the addition of Bai Chen, the members of the 13th squad have long been mentally prepared. Especially those young players who have been in the team for a few years. Excited one by one, when the name of Bai Chen is mentioned, there is even an adoring expression Obviously, even compared to Bai Chen. These people, because they joined the team earlier, their qualifications are naturally a little older. But, all are conscious. Consider yourself a newcomer. And Bai Chen who is about to join. They are regarded as seniors with impeccable qualifications and strengths. Facing the addition of Bai Chen. In the entire 13th division. Almost everyone, without exception, has a warm welcome. Even those old people, who have been in the team for more than dozens, even hundreds of years. It will not be because of the seat that Bai Chen may be taken away. And there is the slightest complaint and repulsive attitude. What a joke. A light is by virtue of Shikai. It can be in front of the captain. A genius who uses power to overwhelm other Shinigami captains. The officers of the 13th division. It's too late to flatter and please. Where can there be any complaints? At this time. The atrium of the 13th division team building. At the advance call of Jashiro Yukataki. All the members of the 13th division, all the officers and team members, all gathered in the yard for daily training. Captain Jashiro, you seem to be in good spirits and blood today, and you are obviously in a much happier mood than before. Is it because you are still immersed in the celebration of Bai Chen's joining? Under the crisp black hair, Shiba Kyan grinned. As an adjutant, and also recognized as the successor of the next captain of the 13th division. He can be said to be the person who knows Jashiro Yukataki best in this world. Yes, nodded. Jashiro Yukataki smiled heartily and said. Kyan, although you two are here, our 13th squad has already been thriving. However, compared to other teams, the sense of presence is still slightly lower after all. Look at Shiba Kyan in front of you. And his wife beside him, the current third seat of the 13th squad, Shiba. Jashiro Yukataki curled his lips, his words full of helplessness. As a purification team, the presence of the 13th squad. It is definitely not as good as the fighting team. And the Technology Development Bureau of the 12th Division, etc. Again because Jashiro Yukataki is weak. Even the cumbersome team affairs are not competent for a long time, and they rarely show their faces in public. Therefore, even the captain did, subordinates are even less competitive. As time goes on, it will gradually widen the gap with other teams. Also, Shiba Kyan in charge of team affairs. There is also his wife Shiba, as well as several other high-ranking officials, who are gentle and Buddhist. Therefore, every graduation season, graduates of Spiritual Arts Academy. When choosing a team, the 13th squad is often ignored. On the contrary, I would rather join another famous team. Facing this circumstances, Jashiro Yukataki was very distressed for a time. I am also very eager to change the impression that the 13th division brings to people. It's a pity that there has been no effective method for so many years. But, now with the addition of Bai Chen, everything will be different in no time. As the strongest genius, known throughout the Soul Society. Bai Chen's name, and the extraordinary strength he displayed. All will bring great attention to the 13th division. In the days to come. As long as Bai Chen doesn't leave the team for a day. The presence of the 13th division will always be full. Of course, happy to be happy, but I can think of the next question about Bai Chen's job arrangement. Jashiro Yukataki suddenly became a headache again. Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't figured out yet how to arrange Bai Chen's seat. After all, with his strength, no matter where he is placed, it seems unreasonable. He rubbed his temples with a headache. Jashiro Yukataki sighed hesitantly. Captain Jashiro, just don't worry. As the third seat, I am undoubtedly the one who should give up my position the most. Shiba stroked her hair, and said generously. Seat, I don't mind giving up. However, the premise is that Yuchen must beat me openly. Shiba has a bright personality. Jashiro XIV's embarrassment can be seen at a glance. Hastily took the initiative to speak, and took the initiative to embrace the problem. But, after hearing his words, as her husband, Shiba Kyan couldn't help breaking into a cold sweat. It's not necessary. According to what you mean, isn't it just a fight with Bai Chen? Shiba Kyan's eyelids twitched. What's the difference between this kind of behavior, and sending people's heads? First, I need to correct you. The battle to win a seat is a right that rookies have. So strictly speaking, it is Bai Chen who challenged me. After deliberately emphasizing in a deep voice, Shiba cleared his throat and continued. Second, everything, be fair and just. If Bai Chen wants to be in the top position, he has to defeat me personally. Under the condition that Shiba Kyan's adjutant status remains unchanged by default. His wife Shiba both, he thinks that his status is 3 seats, is the most likely target of Richen. That's why I just said that. All right, I know the character of my wife well. Shiba Kyan didn't say much. But as long as he can convince the crowd, he can only sacrifice his wife wrongly. Then, everyone didn't wait too long. Bai Chen, the protagonist, will appear soon. Is he Bai Chen? He looks so handsome. It has both strength and appearance, which is really surprising. Among the crowd, Hutch, who is currently only 5 seats, is voiceless. The bright eyes under the short blonde hair stared intently at Bai Chen. Eyes full of surprise and appreciation. Although this time. Rumors and deeds about Bai Chen. Hutch Qingyan has heard it countless times. But, the moment I saw the real person, as an ignorant girl, Hutch, who is lively and outgoing, has a voiceless voice. I was immediately attracted by Bai Chen's unique temperament. No wonder I've heard Captain Sui Feng, Vice Captain Matsumoto, etc. have a very close relationship with Bai Chen. Even Captain Unohana Retsu, who is followed by Sister Yongyan, seems to be secretly paying more attention to Bai Chen. Hu Che's voiceless eyes rolled. It reflected Bai Chen's approaching figure. Can't help but sigh. If I were them, I would definitely have a crush on Bai Chen too. A little brother who is contrived and beats. Simply the most ideal other half. Although it is not a love brain, like Taozi. But because of the lively and outgoing personality. Hutch Qingyan didn't deliberately try to hide it. Instead, he was outspoken and expressed his inner thoughts at the moment. Just say it directly, she is greedy for Bai Chen's body. Of course, Hu Che voiceless secretly delighted. Bai Chen is naturally unclear. His attention at this time put on Jashiro Yukitake and Shiba Kaien couple. After greeting several people respectively. Then, under the watchful eyes of other team members, he walked into the queue. Alright, about Bai Chen, I won't introduce too much. Stand on a high platform. Jashiro Yukitake was smiling. He first looked at Bai Chen, then glanced at each of the officers, and directly raised the topic. As usual, every new team member has the right to challenge any seat in the team. Once you win the challenge, you will directly replace it. Ask for flowers. Jashiro Yukitake raises the decibels. The sound spread to every corner of the entire atrium. Immediately, it brought a sense of oppression and tension to the officers present. Finished speaking, Jashiro Yukitake looked down at Bai Chen. With a gentle smile, he gestured. Bai Chen, from now on, you have the right to challenge anyone. So, if you think it through, just tell me which seat you want to challenge. Jashiro Yukitake had just finished speaking. Bai Chen then told the answer almost seamlessly. Captain Jashiro, the person I want to challenge is. The corners of Bai Chen's mouth rose slightly. His eyes did not look at the most likely high-ranking officers. Instead, he looked behind Jashiro Yukitake. Shiba Kaien is also smiling, waiting for his answer. Vice Captain Kaien, I want to be able to challenge him directly. The voice is sonorous and powerful, and with obvious expectations. Bai Chen didn't agree with each other, and gave an answer that everyone didn't expect. And when the voice fell, the entire atrium was in an uproar. The expression of every officer and soldier present changed slightly. And the name Shiba Kaien. The smile on his face also froze at this moment. Bai Chen, did I hear you right? You actually want to challenge me directly? Shiba Kaien froze. He really didn't expect that Richin would not play cards according to the routine. Well said. Battle for seats. But directly past all the seats. Challenge the vice captain as soon as you come up. Such behavior. It's really the first time it's happened in so many years. That's right. Facing Shiba Kaien with surprised eyes. Bai Chen showed a polite smile, and nodded affirmatively again. The only person I want to challenge. Only you, Vice Captain Kaien. When these words, after Bai Chen's re-emphasis, and spread along the air, the entire team building of the 13th Division was blown up in an instant. Everyone expressed their unacceptability. No way. Did Bai Chen do it on purpose? Who would directly challenge the vice captain as soon as they come up? Isn't every lieutenant appointed by Captain Shinigami? Bai Chen is a bit too disrespectful to Vice Captain Kaien. Since Shiba Kaien had already become the vice captain decades ago. So his reputation in the team is extremely high. Loved and respected by the players. Although the person being challenged is not himself. However, Bai Chen's behavior still aroused the collective dissatisfaction of the 13th squad members. They subconsciously thought that Bai Chen was messing around on purpose. Bai Chen, are you serious? Stop thinking about it. Silence for a while. Jashiro Yukitake spoke with difficulty, persuading him tactfully. He didn't want this fight to happen. If Shiba Kaien is the right arm and right arm. In a fair duel, if you are defeated by Bai Chen, then it is bound to have an impact on Shiba Kaien's prestige. This is not what Jashiro Yukitake wants to see. After all, Jashiro Yukitake had already made up his mind. Once his body deteriorates, he will immediately choose to retire without hesitation. Give up the captaincy to Shiba Kaien. Therefore, keep up the decency of Shiba Kaien. One of the first things Jashiro Yukitake had to make sure of. However, before Bai Chen responded again, beside Jashiro Yukitake, Shiba Kaien took the initiative to speak. Captain Jashiro, no need. I know Bai Chen doesn't have any malice. And when we first met in Lifu Mountain, the two of us also made a promise that we would wait until Bai Chen became a Shinigami. Find opportunities to learn from each other. Speaking of which, Shiba Kaien stepped forward. Looking at Bai Chen with fiery eyes, he readily agreed. Come on, Bai Chen. Next, under the witness of Captain Jashiro and all team members. With your Zanpakuto, Wood Dragon. With mine Zanpakuto, Nejibana. Let's have an evenly matched fair contest. Chapter 65 Kido vs. Boom. Allelopathy. Freezing and running water. Advertise here. Soon after, in the competition field of the 13th Division, headed by Jashiro Yukitake, all the officers and soldiers. This site, the third floor and the outer 3 floors, is completely surrounded by water. Bai Chen, Shiba Kaien, the two stood in the center of the arena. Although it has not released the momentum yet, however, the collision between eyes seemed to shoot out fierce sparks in the air. And at this time, Jashiro Yukitake hosted off-site. After teaming up with all the chief officers, they jointly set up the 5-fold Kido enchantment. Loud announcement rules. Quote. Under the premise of avoiding casualties. Bai Chen and Kaien are limited to the same Reiatsu level. You can freely use the 4 skills and Zanpakuto to fight. Other than that, there are no other rules. Consider Bai Chen's Reiatsu. But above the usual Shinigami captain. But Shiba Kaien, although it is also a heavenly group. But Reiatsu is clearly inferior. Now there are only 4th class Lingwei. It's as much as 1 level behind. Therefore, at the suggestion of Jashiro Yukitake, Bai Chen exclusive Reiatsu, limit your own Reiatsu to the 4th class level as well. Thus, there is no direct gap on the Reiatsu side for double convenience. Under such a premise, it can be regarded as a truly fair duel. Voiceless, how do you feel about this matchup? Among the crowd, Shiba looked at Hutch Qingyan beside him and asked softly. This. The eyeballs rolled slightly. 887. Hutch replied with a voiceless voice. As the 5th seat of the 13th Division. Naturally, I support Vice Captain Kaien without hesitation. But, the topic changed. Hu Che voiceless shifted his gaze. He set his sights on Bai Chen. Then he jumped out of his mind, squinted his eyes and smiled lightly. Although everyone is very unfamiliar with Bai Chen. But, from the moment he stepped into the team building, Bai Chen is already a new member of our 13th squad. So, with everyone overwhelmingly supporting Vice Captain Kaien, I still hope to give some encouragement to Bai Chen. Finished. Hutch Qingyan also blinked his eyes on purpose. He deliberately used his eyes to imply that he was completely innocent. Absolutely not because of selfishness. And intentionally favor Bai Chen. Well, Qingyan, actually, what you said makes sense. After listening to Hutch Qingyan's words, Shiba sighed in shame, and said with self-blame. It's really not right to treat one more favorably than another. What's more, Bai Chen also took the initiative to limit Reiatsu. And this confrontation is not a life and death battle between enemies. So all of us, really shouldn't be treated differently. Shiba has complicated expressions. Original. She was already ready. If he recognizes his status as the 3 seats, he will definitely give it up to Bai Chen. Unexpectedly, Bai Chen does not follow the rules. Ignored all the officers. Challenged Shiba Kaien directly. For this, Shiba is very helpless though. But you can only follow the rules. After all, things like challenges are not uncommon in Gotei 13. Almost formed a culture of healthy competition. Take a step back. As long as Bai Chen expands a bit more, he can even challenge Jashiro Yukitake directly. Follow up. As long as it is a challenge. Under the witness of more than 200 team members, Bai Chen was able to defeat Jashiro Yukitake in a fair manner. Then he can replace the latter and become the new captain of Team 13. And this one way, it is also in the original plot. Zaraki Kenpachi's way to become the captain of the battle squad. So, as permitted by the rules, no matter how much Shiba worries about her husband, it's fine. The only thing that can be done at this moment, it is among the crowd, silently praying for Shiba Kaien. Let's hope he can hold off Bai Chen's attack. If not, once unfortunately defeated, the position of adjutant is not guaranteed. At the same time, with Jashiro Yukitake announced the rules. The two people in the arena are no longer just eye contact. Bai Chen, I heard you're a Kido master. Strength in terms of Kido, even strong enough to create Kido. Shiba Kaien was talking, raising the arms at the same time, Reiatsu in the body speeds up. Boom. The 4th class Lingwei burst out suddenly. In an instant, the ground was filled with smoke and dust. The Black Death Tyrant outfit also made a lot of noise because of this. As expected of Vice Captain Kaien. Just need to practice for a while, the Reiatsu of Kaien's Vice Captain can continue to advance. And the current him is definitely the most powerful leader among all the Vice Captains. After feeling the powerful momentum emanating from Shiba Kaien. Even through the 5 Kido barriers. The members of the 13th squad who were onlookers still couldn't help but gasp in amazement. And have faith in Shiba Kaien. Undeniable, although his talent is not as good as Bai Chen. And also slightly inferior to Ichimaru Jin. But, with years of hard work, the strength of Shiba Kaien is almost the first person under Captain Shinigami. Among the adjutants, he was stronger than him. It seems that Chojiro is the only one. But in the past so many years, the Western old man has been deliberately hiding his clumsy strength. Usually, it is almost invisible, and I have never performed Bankai. In everyone's consistent cognition, our Shiba Kaien's performance is more outstanding. Come on, Vice Captain Kaien, prove it to Bai Chen. Back then, you were also a highly anticipated genius. The 4th seat of the 13th Division. In the future, Katsubaki Sentaro, who will serve as the 3rd seat together with Toru Qingyan. Pulling the voice, full of air, shouting loudly. His voice not only detonated the watching atmosphere. At the same time, it also aroused the emotions of others. This made the members of the 13th Squad cheer harder. But this situation only lasted for a short time. It was soon interrupted by the Kido chant coming from the arena. Hydraulic form. Fluid gun. Give me the power of the ocean. Condensate the water blade of the void. 65 of Hado. Water blade slash. The moment when the chanting ends. Shiba Kaien's body was full of majestic spiritual energy. It continuously absorbs the moisture in the air, and combines with the spiritual particles in it to softly condense at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye. Then condensed into 3 huge water blades. Suspended in front of Shiba Kaien. Blooming with blue translucent luster. Look from a distance. Just like the trident wielding in Poseidon's hand. Quote. Hado of the flowing water system. This is really the first time I've seen it. As expected of a man with the strongest water Zanpakuto. Look up and stare across. Looking at the 3 swords pointing at his water blade. Bai Chen raised his eyebrows in surprise, his eyes brightened instantly. To know, under normal circumstances, Kido most commonly used by Shinigami. In fact, back and forth are those kinds. Bai Lei. Red cannon, fiery lightning howl, Shuanglian Kangwo pendant and so on. For these Hado who are almost bad street. To be fair, even Bai Chen is a bit tired of seeing it. 04. Shiba Kaien's hand, flowing water system Hado. Not only is it eye-catching, but it is also very powerful. And it fits perfectly with itself. It is really not to be underestimated. Bai Chen. Under normal circumstances, Hado with the 3 attributes of wind, fire, and thunder is the most destructive. So everyone is more inclined to use these 3 types of Hado in battle. While speaking, Shiba Kaien lightly raised his fingertips, his words were full of confidence. But, don't think so. The unpopular Hado, the power will be weak. What's more, my Zanpakuto Nejibana can also maximize the power of the flowing water system Hado. The voice fell. Shiba Kaien's palm suddenly pressed down. A sharp water blade with a blue shimmer. It carries the killing ability enough to split the air. Roaring and suddenly attacking Bai Chen. Captain Kaien is so strong. Through Gote 13, my perception and insights on the flowing water system. If he takes second place, no one dares to call him third. Outside the 5-fold Kido barrier, there was another uproar among the crowd of onlookers. Look at those 3 water blades. When flying at high speed in midair, the blue ribbon-like ripples left behind. The officers and soldiers of the 13th Division. I feel pleasing to the eye, but I can't help but sigh Shiba Kaien's strength again. To know, although Shiba Kaien has not drawn his sword yet. But his Zanpakuto, Nejibana, is the recognized water system Zanpakuto. And now, light is the fully chanted flowing water system Hado. It's already that strong. It's hard not to look forward to. Once the battle escalates, both sides utilize Zanpakuto to fight. And Zanpakuto, Nejibana, performed Shikai later. Shiba Kaien at that time. And will take advantage of the turbulent water waves. What a dazzling and wonderful performance. But, of all people, only Jashiro Yukitake is always frowning. He didn't dare to relax his vigilance at all. Not blindly optimistic about Shiba Kaien like his subordinates. It cannot be denied. Because of Zanpakuto, Kaien can indeed double the power of flowing water, Hado. But, since there is blessing, there must be restraint. And the best way to deal with flowing water is to use freezing to dissolve it. Jashiro Yukitake muttered to himself. Although frozen Kido, it is also very unpopular. But unpopular only means rare, doesn't mean there isn't. Therefore, according to Jashiro Yukitake's speculation, in order to carry out the most powerful counterattack, Bai Chen will definitely use it later. Frozen type Hado conducts a confrontation. Backs. This idea has just risen in my mind. Bai Chen's next move was really as Jashiro Yukitake expected. Performed the recitation of Frozen Hado. Pure white snowflakes. Crystal clear frost. Let the cold weather come. Frozen, high solid, white cold current overflowing sound. Sweep the earth. Hado's 85, ice crystal snow dance. Be a fierce blade of water. Within the line of sight, the more zoomed in and approached. Bai Chen's expression is still calm. Even if the distance is shortened to only a dozen meters. That's why you don't rush. Finished Kido chant. And that rare chant just now. It also once again aroused the exclamation of the members of the 13th Division. Hado's 85. The serial number of this level is almost the limit of the ordinary 0.8 Shinigami can play. I didn't expect that. Bai Chen's Zanpakuto is obviously a wooden Zanpakuto. But when he casts the extremely rare ice and snow Hado, he seems to be able to handle it with ease. Bai Chen really has the full level Kido talent as rumored. At this time, in the exclamation of everyone, no action was seen from Bai Chen either. He just stood with his hands behind his back, and within a range of more than 10 meters around his body, a haze of hoarfrost appeared out of thin air. Crack. The moment when the cold plunges. The air inside Kido's barrier was instantly frozen like absolute zero. all the moisture in the air. It also condensed into ice at this moment. A gorgeous ice wall was formed. Not only that, as the cold air descends from top to bottom, the ground under Bai Chen's feet, in just a few breaths, it turned into a pure white land. It would be as if, after releasing the frozen Kido, Bai Chen directly opened an invisible frozen stance. Anything that covers everything, all will be attacked by the cold, destroyed, and frozen. And this of course also includes those 3 sharp water blades with blue ripples. Finally, along with the entire contest venue, it seemed to have turned into a world of ice and snow. Before the water blades slashed head-on, it would condense into ice in midair. Turned into 3 lifelike ice sculptures. It adds a different kind of appreciation to this ice and snow beauty. Chapter 66 Flowing water system is the strongest. Become the nutrient of the sacred tree. Advertise here. Crack. The cold air suddenly hit. The sound of water vapor condensation is extraordinarily clear. Before everyone can react, Bai Chen obviously just finished casting Kido not long ago. The entire 5-level Kido barrier instantly became a world of ice and snow. Along with Shiba Kaien's full-strength blow of the flowing water system Hado, it was completely reduced to 3 ice sculptures. Frozen in midair, under the shining of the scorching sun. Blooming like crystal luster. And this scene, it's like letting time press the stop button. Make the entire competition venue, all members of the 13th Division Shinigami. Followed by the group to freeze. Only Bai Chen, who is in the frost, is not affected by the cold at all. From the beginning to the end, the corners of the mouth are raised, showing absolute confidence. It's over so easily. What about the Kido confrontation? It's clearly a unilateral crush. He froze in place in astonishment. Until the biting white chill. Along the pores on the surface of the skin, it continuously invades the body. The officers and soldiers of the 13th Division. Only then did he suddenly wake up with a shiver. When looking up at the midair, the 3 lifelike ice sculptures. Everyone's expression has become extremely complicated. I can't believe it at all, Shiba Kaien's full blow. Actually, in this way, the anticlimax was cracked. As a party, Shiba Kaien's mood, the original is much heavier than others. He who was once high-spirited just now couldn't help but turn pale at this moment. The eyes looking at Bai Chen are full of strong fear. Bai Chen, I didn't expect it. You can use Kido with different attributes to perfection. I have to admit, your accomplishments in Kido are simply awe-inspiring. Shiba Kaien is not someone who can afford to lose. And he admits it himself. When, flowing water system Kido, was released just now. 13. Apparently an added bonus to gaining the Zanpakuto trait. But even so, still in the Kido rivalry, the defeat was a mess. For such a result, Shiba Kaien is not only convinced. And from the bottom of my heart, I recognize Bai Chen's superb strength in Kido. Reasonable. Hado who is proficient in mastering different attributes. And it can blast out with full power in an instant. This kind of thing, without any strength, really can't control it. It can be seen that Bai Chen has control over spiritual power. It has also reached the ultimate that ordinary people can't imagine. Simply scary. Captain Kaien, I have accepted. Actually, your Kido's strength is also not bad. If it were someone else, I would have been beheaded by the water blade just now. Bai Chen showed a faint smile. He didn't show any pride because he suppressed the opponent strongly. His tone, mild as ever, no emotional ups and downs. Obviously, for Bai Chen, Hado, the ice system that surprised the audience just now. It's just like performing a little magic trick. If it weren't for Reiatsu being restricted. If you go all out, the 85 Hado that you just unleashed. It can even freeze the entire team building of the 13th Division in an instant. Bai Chen is so humble. So the real genius, Endu, is always so low-key and easygoing. It seems that I need to change, the inherent prejudice against men. Looking at standing in the white snow. Bai Chen's handsome and heroic figure standing on the armrest. Hutch Qingyan's eyes widened. It seems that in this man, I saw infinite light. There was even a moment. She still has a young girl's heart, and she couldn't help but be moved. Of course, it feels like a split second. It doesn't mean that you will feel good immediately. But, the scene that happened just now, it also made Hutch Qingyan completely understand. Bai Chen's title of, the strongest genius, is not a waste of fame. He is really powerful. Challenge any Shinigami captain. At the same time, Jashiro Yukitake also spoke. Bai Chen. Quote. Even though the Kido versus Boom has already been decided. Then let's each show our true strength. Finished. The gaze of Jashiro Yukitake. They looked at the waists of the two, the Zanpakuto, Nejibana, and Zanpakuto, Wooden Dragon. One is Zanpakuto, the strongest in the flowing water system. The other is the previously obscure Wood family Zanpakuto. Both are rare categories, and it is very likely that it will still be a relationship of mutual generation and mutual restraint. Therefore, for the next Zanpakuto battle, Jashiro Yukitake's eyes are fiery, and his heart is full of anticipation. He can't wait to fast forward time, so that it can be revealed immediately, with Reiatsu equal. Forest and water waves. Which is stronger and weaker between the two? At this time, within the fivefold Kido barrier, Jashiro Yukitake has just announced that he will move on to the next session. Shiba Kaiyan looked resolute. Without hesitation, he reached out and touched his waist, and directly pulled Zanpakuto out of the scabbard. Lithium. Zanpakuto. Nejibana, unsheathed. Although the appearance is the appearance of ordinary Taidao. However, on the surface of the slender blade, the water blue lines are clearly visible. And look at it from a certain angle. A light blue sheen-like waves can also be found. The most important is, when Nejibana falls from midair, the pure white land under the feet is obviously showing signs of melting soon. It seems all snow and frost. Because he couldn't bear the imposing oppression of Zanpakuto, Nejibana. Snow dissolves in water. Use it for it. Does it noticeably affect humidity once unsheathed? Zanpakuto, the strongest water system in the legend, really lives up to its reputation. Bai Chen narrowed his eyes, while seriously inquiring about Nejibana. His expression gradually became more serious. In Bai Chen's impression, after Nejibana is released, it will become a trident in the form of a spear. And with every swing, whether it's spinning, stabbing, or volleying up, spear tip decorated with blue sakura, it will be accompanied by waves of spiritual sprays. And in the course of the battle, it can be broken. Set off a huge wave of countercurrent out of thin air. That is to say, as long as Shiba Kaiyan's spiritual power is strong enough, then the power of those spirit seed sprays will be as fierce as a real slash. And it is also a large-scale sweep/wave. It's just a handful, the upper limit is extremely high. And Zanpakuto with unlimited imagination. And the name of, the strongest flowing water system. Naturally deserved it, but, if nothing else, my wood-style secret technique is not just as simple as restraint. It should be able to directly absorb the power of Nejibana, right? A look of expectation flashed in Bai Chen's eyes. Actually the reason why he challenged Shiba Kaiyan. It's not for coveting the position of vice captain. Just because fighting is so boring. A surefire thing. Without passion, even if he crushes all the chief executives, Ri Chen won't feel the slightest sense of accomplishment in his heart. The opposite of, utilize the abilities of Zanpakuto, Nejibana. Conduct a biological experiment, directly and legitimately. Have a test. Once the power of Nejibana is absorbed. Forest trees summoned by Zanpakuto, wood dragon. Will there be a significant increase? This is the real purpose of Bai Chen. At this time, after the momentum is brewing, Shiba Kaiyan took hold of the hilt and immediately freed Zanpakuto. Let the water and the sky turn. Nejibana. Words fell. The powerful Reiatsu of the fourth-class Lingwei. Like the violent undulations of the waves, the vast moment is released. This moment, the thick layer of frost accumulated on the ground. It was forced to melt directly, and everything turned into water flow. Wow, wave after wave, constantly scouring the surface of the five-fold Kido barrier. Not only caused high-frequency vibrations, it even made the entire competition venue show signs of fluctuation. The most important is, the situation is reversed. Frozen disappeared. Instead, it turned into a monstrous vortex formed by water waves. And when the momentum is exhausted, the Taidao in Shiba Kaiyan's hand was also surrounded by a burst of dazzling blue light. Transformed into the trident used by Poseidon to rule the sea. What a grand scene. Obviously it's just Shikai, but the momentum is so surging. Nejibana by Vice Captain Kaiyan, what a Zanpakuto with unlimited potential. This moment, the officers and soldiers outside the barrier. Without exception, everyone was dumbfounded. In their eyes. The surging water, and the rolling waves. It seems to be depicting a magnificent blue ink painting. And holding the trident Shiba Kaiyan. It is the person who writes the pen himself and is obsessed with the painting. Elegant, gorgeous, impeccable. This is the Shikai of Nejibana. Bring the most authentic feelings to everyone. Bai Chen. How is it, my Nejibana? Does it meet your expectations? Shouldn't it disappoint you? Hold the white slender gun handle. Under the continuous rolling of the water, Shiba Kaiyan's body rose slowly. While talking, take the lead. Looking down at Bai Chen condescendingly. Shiba Kaiyan. 063, your Zanpakuto is pretty strong. But, I don't like to look up to others. Bai Chen frowned. The same is directly liberated from Zanpakuto. The tree that soars to the sky. The soil that shakes the earth. The wild wind of nature. The forest that moves the clouds. Unleash the power of nature. Wooden dragon. It's different from before. The moment of liberation is no longer Reiatsu's sudden outburst. Instant wood-style mystery. Suppression. Tree bound forever. Bai Chen single. Knife in hand. The blade of Zanpakuto swung lightly towards the ground. The next moment, without warning, even with the protection of the five-fold Kido enchantment, the land under the feet, which was swept by the waves, is still violently shaking and collapsing. Quote ? Not quite right. The movement of provoking the tip of the gun came to an abrupt end. As if sensing something, Shiba Kaiyan suddenly lowered his head. A strong premonition of uneasiness emerged from the bottom of my heart. 2. Before he had time to condense the splash of spirit seeds around him. The earth is torn apart. Vines break out of the ground. Vine-like trees grow violently, tightly entwining the waves of the water. And use them as support. Climbing up extremely swiftly, spreading towards the sky with the momentum of thunder. I suffered. Because of being protected by the current, Vice Captain Kyan will occupy a high position. But now this advantage has become a drag. It's too late for him to escape the confines of the trees. Outside the fivefold Kido barrier, I watched helplessly as the vine-like trees piled up and intertwined. The members of the 13th squad became pale in an instant. At this time, as long as you are not blind, it can be seen at a glance that Shiba Kyan has no time to escape. He will be buried under a tree, with man and water. Not only was the whole body suppressed, even if you think about it carefully, you may become a nutrient for this giant tree that hangs from the sky. The situation has reversed too quickly. Through the white enchantment barrier. Watching Shiba Kyan half buried in the earth, Jashiro Yukitaki swallowed hard. With a feeling of uneasiness, I squeezed a cold sweat for Shiba Kyan. Bai Chen, is he planning to use the roots of a big tree to suck up Kyan's Reiatsu all at once? Chapter 67 Wood-Style Secret Art Upgrade. The strongest seat in history. Advertise here. Tree bondage. Bury everything. I haven't waited for everyone to react. The five-fold Kido enchantment originally occupied by splashes and waves. It becomes green in the blink of an eye. Looking around, countless huge vines are intertwined with each other. Like a wooden mountain, the suppression was on Shiba Kyan. No matter how the latter struggles, the shackles of vines will only become more and more difficult to break free. Even to the end, wrap around Shiba Kyan's body tightly. Leaving his arm with obvious strangulation marks one after another. It directly leads to the loss of Shiba Kyan's strength. In the end, even the barrel of the trident couldn't be held firmly. Finally, dang bang, the sound of metal falling to the ground. In the empty contest venue, it was extraordinarily loud. The thick sound was like a thunderbolt. It hit everyone's heart hard. It brought an indescribable shock. The audience was silent. The needle fell silently, the rising sun in the early morning. At the moment it is hanging high above the head. But at this moment, there is a strange chill in the air. Surrounding the five-tiered Kido barrier, the officers and soldiers of the 13th Division look dull, either pupil quake. Everyone stared blankly at the bottom of the vine-like tree. See Shiba Kyan's embarrassment. I was so shocked that I couldn't even say a word. Too violent. Captain Kyan's aura has just reached its peak. It was suppressed in an instant. Bai Chen's wood system, Zanpakuto, is too scary. Until this moment, everyone really realizes that the rumors are true. Bai Chen's Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, really has super attack power comparable to Ryujin Jaka. And what just happened? It is undoubtedly the best example. In the case of Reiatsu Piers, the strongest, Nejibana, of the flowing water system. In the face of the wood-style secret technique, it has no power to parry, and it will shatter when touched. Such a disparity in strength. It intuitively shows how big the gap is between these two Zanpakuto. I lost. Kyan, he has no power to fight back. Among the crowd, Shiba's expression was extremely complicated. In addition to feeling distressed for her husband, she also realized her own perception of Bai Chen's strength. How superficial it is. 3 seats are also good. Adjutant is also good. In fact, they are not worthy of Bai Chen's strength. The person he should really challenge should be Jashiro Yukitaki instead. Only the identity of Captain Shinigami. Only then can it really show the power of Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. Fortunately, this is not a life and death battle between enemies. Otherwise, Vice Captain Kyan would have been completely buried by now. From the side came Xiaochun Shantaro's panic-stricken voice. In the process of tree binding, as long as Bai Chen has any killing intent, Shiba Kyan has long since disappeared into this world. But, Xiaochun Shantaro soon found out. Although because of Bai Chen's mercy, there is no obvious injury on Shiba Kyan at present. But, his Reiatsu, and the power of Zanpakuto, flower. It seems that it is being continuously absorbed by the roots wrapped around its body. Boom. Huge tree roots, constantly driven. During every ups and downs. They are constantly absorbing all the Reiatsu around. Compared to when we were in Karakura Town, those 2 Arankar slaves devoured by the wooden dragon. Reiatsu from Zanpakuto, Nejibana, sure enough lived up to my expectations. Ignore the sensation and amazement around you. Now. Bai Chen is immersed in it. Those twining giant roots, after absorbing the Shikai Reiatsu of Nejibana. Synchronize feedback to your own feelings. Really. Everything was as Bai Chen expected. Reiatsu of Zanpakuto, Nejibana. It can indeed be turned into nutrients. It brings obvious strength increase feeling. Specifically, the attack range of trees and vines. Absorb the advantages and forms of those flowing water and waves. Later in the process of violent growth, it will be more silky and expand the attack range. Besides, because of the nourishment of the spirit seed water flower, the strength and hardness of the trees have also been significantly improved. In other words, whether it's wood-style mysticism, or the power of Bai Chen himself, All because of this duel, they upgraded and became stronger in Satu. About there. If you continue to suck it, Shiba Kaiyan will be squeezed dry at once. A few minutes later, Bai Chen raised his hand and waved lightly. Removed the tree binding forever burial spell. Boom. In the eyes of everyone's incomparable dread, the vine-like wood that rolled all over the sky gradually degenerated into green spiritual seeds. Until it disappears a little bit. And with the disappearance of the huge trees, the riots in the competition venue were finally subsided. As for the unlucky Shiba Kaiyan, after getting rid of the shackles, so soft and exhausted, finally, powerless, he fell to the ground. Thank you, Bai Chen, if you didn't know how to measure and show mercy in time. Otherwise, Kaiyan is going to have permanent sequelae. At the same time that the tree-binding eternal burial disappeared, Jashiro Yukitake also ordered the chairman to remove the 5 Kido barriers. At this time, watch as Reiatsu suffers a lot of plunder. And Shiba Kaiyan, who almost fell asleep, fell to the ground. Jashiro Yukitake's eyelids fluttered. If it weren't for Shiba Kaiyan's body, there would be an obvious life fluctuation limit. Otherwise, with his heart attached to his adjutant, Jashiro can no longer keep his composure. Captain Jashiro, although don't worry, loyalty needs to be cultivated in a short period of time. Vice Captain Kaiyan will soon be able to return to his prime. When Bai Chen uttered the words, Vice Captain, immediately reminded Jashiro Yukitake, and all the members of the 13th Squad. According to rules, because in a fair duel, witnessed by the common eyes of all the officers and soldiers, Bai Chen with overwhelming strength defeated Shiba Kaiyan very strongly. The post of Vice Captain of the latter will change hands. From now on, Bai Chen will be the new lieutenant. Well, looking at Bai Chen, another glance at Shiba Kaiyan who fell unconscious on the ground. Jashiro Yukitake shook his head, sighing helplessly. Has been for decades. He has long been used to it, and Shiba Kaiyan is by his side. Time to take over team duties for yourself. Think here. Jashiro Yukitake couldn't help feeling very sorry. But feelings are one thing, but rules have to keep promises. Therefore, after tidying up the mood, Jashiro Yukitake announced loudly. Bai Chen, your strength is impeccable, sufficiently perfect for the position of adjutant. So from now on, however, Jashiro Yukitake hadn't finished speaking. But it was suddenly interrupted by Bai Chen, etc. Captain Jashiro, I need to clarify. Actually, in my eyes, challenge and responsibility are two different things. And as a newcomer, I am not perfect for the position of adjutant as you said. So, please allow me to refuse your appointment. Although Bai Chen's tone was flat, but his eyes and attitude are quite firm. That's not even waiting for Jashiro Yukitake to announce his appointment. So he directly predicted in advance, and rejected the other party in one tone. And this move, sudden reversal, once again, everyone was surprised. Ah, did I hear wrong? Bai Chen actually voluntarily gave up the competition for the seat. Shiba Kaiyan's wife. Shiba opened his mouth wide in astonishment. The face under the black hair has an expression of disbelief. She really didn't expect it. Bai Chen would give up so simply. Adjutant. But in Gotei 13, the position is second only to Captain Shinigami. It is the identity that countless people dream of, and the person they admire. I actually said I gave up and I gave up. Shiba is all around. Hu Che's voiceless and beautiful eyes flowed. Once again, in Bai Chen, I feel a quality that is different from others. As a result, the favorability has increased again. Bai Chen, what do you mean? Jashiro Yukitake frowned. Refuse appointment, don't want to be adjutant. Isn't this taking the regulations of Gotei 13 as a child's play? But, just when he was about to say something, Bai Chen went on to give a reasonable rationale. Captain Jashiro, I know, because of your physical condition, you can't handle team affairs for a long time. So in the past few decades, Kaiyan's deputy captain has basically been in charge of the 13th division. And I just joined the team today. I basically don't know much about the specific things in the team. So, in order not to affect the operation of the fan team, the vice captain Kaiyan should stay on. Meet everyone's eyes. Bai Chen expressed his attitude calmly. He really doesn't want to be the vice captain. Number 3B. Bai Chen, I understand what you're thinking. Jashiro Yukitake nodded slightly, and said in agreement. Since you insist on asking, then I will not force others. What's more, in terms of team affairs, Kaiyan is indeed inseparable. So, Jashiro Yukitake looked away. He looked at Li Jiao Shibadu who stood at the top of the crowd. B. Your 3 seats, position, take the initiative to give up to Bai Chen, do you have any objection? Jashiro Yukitake said decisively. Bai Chen will serve as the 3rd seat. In the beginning, Shiba proposed it on his own initiative. And do so, it can be regarded as humility to Bai Chen just now. Necessary sophistication. No problem. Captain Jashiro, your arrangement is very appropriate. Bai Chen is undoubtedly the most suitable candidate. Shiba nodded without thinking, and turned to look at Bai Chen, and responded with a warm smile. Very good, since everyone has no opinion. Then this battle for seats will come to an end. After proper arrangement, Jashiro Yukitake breathed a sigh of relief. 3 seats, second only to the captain and adjutant. It is the highest seat in a team. A range like this. Neither has wronged Bai Chen. Also kept Shiba Kaiyan decent. At the same time, it also convinced the members of Team 13. It can be said that everyone is happy. But once the news gets out, the whole Gote 13 will definitely be a sensation again, right? Jashiro Yukitake looked at Bai Chen. He muttered to himself in a low voice. Bai Chen clearly possesses the strength of a captain. However, he succumbs to the position of the third seat. From now on, without a doubt, he will be the first person in the history of Soul Society. The strongest seat ever. Chapter 68 Aizen's plot. New big move. 5-fold Rashomon. Advertise here. The next day, after a day and night of fermentation, the news that Bai Chen became the third seat also spread throughout Seraiti like a hurricane. As expected, it caused a buzz throughout Gote 13. At this time, 5th Division Team Affairs room. Stacks of Team Affairs documents were temporarily moved aside. On the table are 3 cups of hot tea. The scent of tea wafts from it, and white smoke rises. Makes the whole team room. Every corner is filled with a unique fresh smell. Yeah, Captain Aizen, I really didn't expect. Bai Chen is actually the same as I was at the beginning. He joined the team and became the third seat of the fan team. But logically speaking, Shiba Kaiyan shouldn't be able to hold him down. Under the short light purple hair that hangs down. Ichimaru Jin squinted his eyes while picking up his teacup. Said while smiling, Silver, you were right. Opposite. Aizen sitting quietly on a futon. After lightly pushing the black-rimmed glasses, he said in a deep voice, I originally thought that Bai Chen would not be satisfied with the position of chief executive. But now it seems, we still don't seem to know enough about him. Aizen is expressionless though. However, in the cold words, there was a little surprise. And the reason why he thinks so. Nor is it wishful thinking. But because, according to Bai Chen's past performance, confidence, strength, comprehensiveness, and unlimited potential, etc. These are all 123 labels attached to Bai Chen. It is also one of the reasons why Aizen values Bai Chen. Aizen himself is an extremely confident person. When carrying out plans in secret, every detail is under control. Therefore, the law of attraction between like. It also made Aizen discover many bright spots in Bai Chen that satisfy him. However, it's just 3 seats, not even the vice captain. For such a result, even Aizen was very surprised. Master Aizen, no matter what Bai Chen's specific personal thoughts are. But for us, it's good news. The blind Tusen Kanami said respectfully. Hey, Captain Dong, it's rare that you will take the initiative to offer opinions. Tell me what good news is. Ichimaru Jin took the opportunity to fan the flames. Everyone knows, except for the Shinigami captain, the internal positions between the other teams can generally be directly appointed by the captain. Even the method of selecting talents across teams and making direct appointments was not uncommon in the past. Tusen Kanami's voice was low. Said the rules of healthy competition within Gote 13. And when he said this, Aizen understood right away. You think that after Bai Chen joins the team for a while, as the captain of the 5th Division, I can exercise my due authority and take the initiative to invite Bai Chen to join the 5th Division. And personally appoint him as the vice captain of the 5th Division. While speaking, deep in the pupils of Aizen's eyes full of wisdom, an intriguing look flashed across. Obviously very satisfied with this proposal. Pick the right people, and appointed him as his adjutant. Thus keeping that person by his side, monitoring and controlling him day and night. This set of processes, it is in the original plot. Aizen Trio, each for Hinamori Momo, Kira Izuru et al. A method of manipulation used above board. In fact, even if Tusen Kanami doesn't say it, Aizen never forgot the plan either. And the current vice captain of the 5th Division. Just a mediocre character picked at random by Aizen. And this person has already been hypnosis by the power of Kyoko Suigetsu. And such a puppet can be replaced anytime, until a candidate is selected that is most conducive to the defection plan. That's right, once the appointment is successful, Bai Chen will also stay in the 5th team for a long time. Then, in a long time, it will be possible to liberate Zanpakuto before him, for a suitable reason. Tusen Kanami's tone fluctuated slightly. It is obvious that the feasibility of this plan is very high. At least keep Bai Chen by your side. It can also secretly suppress his growth to the greatest extent. But, Tusen Kanami had just finished speaking. I was immediately refuted by Ichimaru Jin. Hey, Captain Tusen. Beforehand, it's not that I want to spoil the fun on purpose. Even according to what you said, Captain Aizen appointed Bai Chen as the vice captain after a while. However, I seem to recall that adjutant appointments also go both ways. BDFB. Ichimaru Jin opened his eyelids slightly, revealing his blue pupils. With a strong questioning tone, he asked back. Then how can you ensure that? Bai Chen, he won't refuse the appointment of Aizen captain. After all, back in Spiritual Arts Academy, he had already rejected Captain Aizen face to face. If the same thing happens again, Then even if Captain Aizen doesn't say anything, he must be very upset in his heart. Ichimaru Jin finished speaking. He also gave Aizen a sideways look on purpose. Apparently, the last sentence was intended for Aizen. By the same person. Rejected twice in a row. And the one who was rejected was Aizen, who had played with all Shinigami members in the applause. This kind of thing. Ichimaru Jin just thought about it. Can't wait to see it for myself. After all, in this world, there are things that can frustrate Aizen. Almost never. Silver, it's okay. The proposal I wanted was originally part of my plan. As for the possibility of rejection, it's not going to be a permanent problem. In Bai Chen's body, there must be points that can be exploited and are easy to break through. As long as he is still in Gote 13, he will never be able to break free from our control. Aizen smiled slightly. He didn't take this little problem to heart. Since then, take advantage of that accident from Hollow Knight. After framing and forcing Urahara Kazuki to defect from the Soul Society. In terms of brain power and wisdom, Aizen never put anyone in their eyes. Even Kuretsuchi Mayuri, who has the ability to think, is no exception. Therefore, find out the right reasons. For Aizen, who is lurking in the dark and has the upper hand. It's only a matter of time. He will not worry at all. At the same time, Akio. Early morning. Autumn is refreshing. Bai Chen standing in front of the mirror. Bai Chen has just put on a neat black dead bully suit. He sneezed for no reason. Is it the Aizen trio? Those three sinister and black-bellied old yinbi. I must be thinking in private again, how to justify and liberate Zanpakuto in front of me. Bai Chen didn't even have to think about it. He immediately guessed that he must be stared again. But he doesn't care. As always, choose to ignore. As long as Gote 13's team rules and regulations remain unchanged for a day. Aizen can't be in the team building. Liberate Zanpakuto openly and privately in front of Bai Chen. Of course, complaints about the Aizen trio. It's just a small episode. In order to complete the new check-in task, Bai Chen must set off as soon as possible. Within the specified time, arrive at the designated check-in place. Ding. New check-in task released. There is no time limit. Please go to the Repentance Palace and check in. After signing in, you will receive a special reward, 5-fold Rashomon. Hear the long-lost system beep. Bai Chen's pitch-black eyes suddenly burst into a strong light. 5-fold Rashomon. It's another big move-level god skill. Chapter 69 Indifference and Rejection. Play around with Sunayashiro Tokinada. Advertise here. 5-fold Rashomon. A summoning technique that belongs to the summoning type. After performing ninjutsu, can be in the middle of the battle. In an instant, 5 huge monsters were summoned. The grimace-shaped iron gate that symbolizes death and hell. At first, during the Battle of the Valley of the End, first Hokage Senju Hashirama is by virtue of the 5-fold Rashomon. Changed 9 tails tailed beast bomb. Ballistic trajectory after fusion with Susanoo's broken knife. Finally, the earth was prevented from being bombarded and shattered. Of course, in addition to the almost absolute defense function. On the 5-fold Rashomon, those 5 faces are different grimaces. It's like constantly laughing at the opponent. Once summoned, it can have the effect of taunting and shocking. And in the Shinigami world, verbal provocation and mutual ridicule. It is also one of the necessary links in the battle. Therefore, once you have mastered the 5-fold Rashomon technique, good ridicule too. From now on, Bai Chen will be worthy of no one. If I remember correctly, the specific location of the Confession Palace seems to be on the south side of the Gote 13 team building, on that relatively remote highland. It should be right next to Shuangjitai. Walk out of the gate of the team building. Bai Chen recalled it carefully. About a month ago. When he was checking in at the foot of the Hill of Two Desires. I have looked around from afar. I vaguely saw a huge white tower-like building. If I'm not mistaken, that should be the Palace of Confessions. That is, in Seraiti, a place dedicated to detaining felons. In the original plot, after Rukia Kuchiki was brought back to Soul Society, it is imprisoned in the 4 deep prisons of the Repentance Palace. Quickly, down the long aisle, and past memories. Bai Chen went all the way unimpeded, taking advantage of the powerful Shunpo ability. Arrived at the destination soon, Repentance Palace. And signed up right away. Ding. The next step is to officially sign in. The sign-in time is 5 seconds, and if you quit halfway, it will be considered a failure. Since I haven't signed in for a while. Therefore. Hear the long-lost sign-in notification sound. Bai Chen's mood also gradually became excited. To know any check-in skills, after the strengthening of the system. Without exception, local spiritualization will be carried out. That is to say, 5-fold Rashomon will be composed of Bai Chen's own Reiatsu. Its sturdiness is equal to the magnitude of Reiatsu. It is equivalent to releasing 5 powerful Kido barriers that cannot be penetrated at once. In other words, later, after the countdown ends, Bai Chen's Kido strength. It will also usher in a huge improvement again. Then. The 5-second countdown ends. Bai Chen finally got his wish and got the sign-in reward. Ding. Congratulations to host, the sign-in is successful. Sign in reward. Fivefold Rashomon can be integrated into the power of Zanpakuto. Sign in successfully. And after taking a look at the skill introduction, Bai Chen's eyes lit up instantly. Can you still fuse the power of the wooden dragon? Doesn't that mean that it can be combined with the wood-style secret technique? Think here. Bai Chen's eyes instantly became hot. Original. Fivefold Rashomon. It is equivalent to the Kido enchantment of the forbidden technique level. Although the defensive ability is full, it is only limited to passive defense. But, once absorbed into the power of the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, every gate of hell, it can be at the same time of defense. Fight back with wood-style mysteries, so as to advance to a super large-scale killing move with both offense and defense. If it is placed in the category of Kido, the upgraded five-fold Rashomon is undoubtedly the legendary Kido. Not bad. Sure enough, every time the system signs in, it will never disappoint. Bai Chen showed a satisfied smile. The first thing he thought of was the millennium bloody battle that would happen in the future. When faced with the invasion of the Invisible Empire. Want to clean up many purebred exterminators of miscellaneous fish at one time. Bai Chen only needs to be in the team building. Summon the fivefold Rashomon to descend. It can easily sweep an entire area. Alright. Since the sign-in is successful, it's time to return to the team building. During the period when I just joined the team, I have more free time. It happened to be able to concentrate on studying the Kido practice journal given by Tessai Tsukubishi. Put away your thoughts. Just when Bai Chen was about to return the same way. But suddenly, crack, crack, crack. There was a sudden applause. Suddenly, not far away, there was a sound at the end of the corridor that was supposed to be empty. Quote question mark exclamation mark quote. Quote dot 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 quote. Bai Chen frowned, subconsciously turned his head and looked towards the source of the sound. The next moment, within his line of sight, wearing a conspicuous aristocratic costume. The body is wrapped in a luxurious green coat. A figure that has never been seen before is walking towards Bai Chen along the suspension bridge leading to Shuangjitai. Quote dot 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 quote. Tokinada Sunayashiro. Spy on each other from afar. After just a few glances, Bai Chen instantly recognized the identity of the person who came. Impressively, it was after the Millennium Bloody War ended. Take advantage of Sunayashiro's status as an aristocrat and the privileges bestowed upon him from generation to generation. After learning the secrets between the five nobles and the Spirit King. A villain who has performed a series of villainous acts. Sunayashiro Tokinada. Hee. Unexpectedly, you actually know me. The narrow eyelids narrowed slightly. On Sunayashiro Tokinada's face, there was a faint smile that seemed to be a smile but not a smile. And behind him, followed by a group of servants. Although each of their faces is covered with a black cloth. And put on the clothes of the servants of the Sunayashiro family as a cover. But with Reiatsu perception, Bai Chen recognized it immediately. These followers, all used to be Shinigami. Either the Kido congregation. Either by stealth maneuvering. Almost every one of them is an elite-level powerhouse. Interesting. Have you already been eyeing me? As soon as I left the range of the team building, I took advantage of my status as the four nobles to openly lead people to intercept me. Withdraw perception. Bai Chen raised his eyes. With a calm expression, he looked at Sunayashiro Tokinada. At the same time, he asked coldly. Tokinada Sunayashiro. I don't remember any intersection between the two of us. I wonder what your purpose is. In foreknowledge. It has long been clear that Sunayashiro Tokinada is a human being. Naturally, Bai Chen would not think so naively. The other party made such a big fuss just to say hello to himself. It must be to take advantage of the characteristics of the four great noble leaders. Covet something in yourself. Bai Chen, you are right, we did not know each other at first. But, I've heard all kinds of rumors about you. Asking for flowers. There was a gloomy look in his eyes. As if unable to hold back his emotions, Sunayashiro Tokinada's expression gradually became greedy. His gaze no longer met Bai Chen's. And gradually moved down, looking at Bai Chen's waist. Finally locked onto the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. I see, so you came for my wood element Zanpakuto. With this look, Bai Chen instantly understood the other party's thoughts. Some time ago, in a corner no one knows. Sunayashiro Tokinada has quietly set his ambitions on himself. Bai Chen, there is no need to be overly vigilant. I do come for your Zanpakuto. But there is no hostility, but I plan to discuss with you. Sunayashiro Tokinada pressed on every step of the way. A large number of entourage behind him, after passing the suspension bridge. Deliberately spread out to the surroundings. It seems that they want to block and surround the entire nearby area. What are you discussing? Bai Chen sneered. See it all. But it seems to be looking at a group of clowns. Leave to the Kido of yesteryear, and the stealthy and mobile elite. 0. Gradually form a blockade and surround yourself. I'd like to see your Zanpakuto up close. This request shouldn't be too much, right? Sunayashiro Tokinada went straight to the point. If it weren't for the fear of Bai Chen's strength. If it were someone else, he would have been like decades ago. Relying on the power and status of the Sunayashiro family. Directly ordered to grab it by hand. How can I hold back my patience and tentatively negotiate with Bai Chen? So that's it. I thought it was some other request. If it's just for watching, it's not hard to agree. Meet Sunayashiro Tokinada's greedy eyes. Bai Chen smiled playfully. Said loudly on purpose. So, you said yes. Doesn't seem to be expected. Bai Chen's attitude was so straightforward. Sunayashiro Tokinada was stunned for a moment, and then felt extremely pleasantly surprised. Then just watch it up close. And touch Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. Then in this gap, he can take the opportunity to activate the power of Yan Luo Jingdian, perfectly replicating the power of the wood line Zanpakuto, so as to achieve his ambition and plan. However, just as Sunayashiro Tokinada's expectations were rising rapidly, Bai Chen's next answer, but in an instant, a basin of cold water was poured on him, extinguishing all his enthusiasm. Promise. Sorry, absolutely. My Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, not just anyone. Everyone is qualified to touch and appreciate at will. You Sunayashiro Tokinada, you are not worthy. Bai Chen grinned. The playful arc of the corner of the mouth reaches the maximum. In front of Sunayashiro Tokinada, not only did they not take into account the precious status of the other party. On the contrary, he refused indifferently in person. He even bluntly said that Sunayashiro Tokinada is not worthy at all. These words, accompanied by a light tone of voice. He hit Sunayashiro Tokinada head on. On the latter's face, all the original surprises and expectations. It disappeared in an instant. Replaced by, because it was rejected face to face. And Bai Chen's sarcasm with no regard for emotion. And instantly became ferocious, and extremely embarrassing complexion. This moment, Sunayashiro Tokinada is pissed off. Also near this piece of high plane air. And because he became angry from embarrassment, he was filled with gunpowder in an instant. Woo. Chapter 70 Loot the target. Ability of past Kenpachi. Advertise here. Bai Chen, how dare you play me? When you realize you've been tricked. Sunayashiro Tokinada's complexion instantly turned red from embarrassment. Not only does it not have the unique bearing of the four great nobles. Instead, because the requirements cannot be met. On the face with a gloomy expression, a large number of blue veins emerged. It looks very permeable. From the beginning, it was just your wishful thinking, right? Take the other party's displeasure and anger into your eyes. Bai Chen showed a satisfied smile, and calmly confronted him. Not to mention, he glanced around from the corner of his eye. Look at the figures of those dozens of attendants in their respective positions. Bai Chen sneered and then mocked. Even if I don't agree. You have already made plans to forcibly snatch it, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't deliberately mobilize all the forces of the Sunayashiro family. Bai Chen indifferently exposed it face to face. He clearly remembers. Why does the character of the blind Tusen Konami become paranoid and distorted? It is because of his close friend that Sunayashiro's 230 Tokinada was blatantly murdered. But because of the status of the head of the four nobles. Afterwards, even after the Central 46 trial, the punishment Sunayashiro Tokinada received. Also just being disqualified and taking back Zanpakuto. And it is forbidden to step into the 13th Division team building forever. Besides, no more punishment, even because of their special status. Sunayashiro Tokinada remains unimpeded within Seraiti. No one dared to stop him. No one dared to offend him. This intensified Sunayashiro Tokinada's arrogance. His ambition is also increasing day by day. Hee. Bai Chen, you are right. Anyway, he is also the current leader of the four great nobles. Although the mentality was broken just now, almost turned into anger out of embarrassment, and ran away in place. But, insidious and vicious character. Still, Sunayashiro Tokinada instantly calmed down. Facing Bai Chen's ridicule, he admitted without hesitation. Actually, it doesn't matter if you agree or not. I will also definitely force you to pull out the Zanpakuto. Among Sen Ran's words, it reveals the certainty of being determined to win. The voice fell. Sunayashiro Tokinada immediately issued an order. Everyone, do it now. Jointly use the family's unique ceiling formation. Block Bai Chen completely on this plateau. Following Sunayashiro Tokinada's order. Those dozens of attendants who had already stood up in advance. Under the leadership of the Kido among them. Instantly release Reiatsu together, and create the Kido barrier at the same time. Tokinada Sunayashiro, I have to praise you, you are well prepared. In order to keep me here on purpose, even the family's secret method was used. I can't see how attractive my Zanpakuto, wood dragon, is. Bai Chen deliberately mocked in a cold voice. A punch comparable to Ryujin Jaka's Zanpakuto. It's hard not to be moved. Sunayashiro Tokinada looked greedily. Lick your lips with the tip of your tongue. At the same time, slowly draw out the Zanpakuto Yanluo Jingdian from the top of the waist belt. The eyes gradually become crazy. Zanpakuto Nine Heavens Mirror Valley. The appearance remains unchanged after liberation, but the ability is to rebound all the enemy's attacks. Am I right? Looking at Sunayashiro Tokinada's hand. An ancient Zanpakuto that has been passed down through generations of the family. Bai Chen is like a treasure. Speaking of its ability to disguise. And these words, it is like 100,000 tons of dynamite, instantly blasted into the bottom of Sunayashiro Tokinada's heart. Once again, his expression suddenly changed drastically because he couldn't believe it. Why do you know so much? In Seraiti, except for those who are closely related to the Four Nobles, it is impossible for ordinary outsiders to know of its existence. Sunayashiro Tokinada was shocked, looking into Bai Chen's eyes. In addition to anger and hostility, there was a strong look of fear in an instant. I even feel more and more terrified. He always feels everything about myself, including thoughts and intentions, even secret plans and ambitions. All the secrets. In front of Bai Chen, there is nowhere to hide. It looks like even the underwear has been pulled out. The whole body is unobstructed. Surprised. Shall I tell you more news? Bai Chen stretched out his hand, pointing head-on at the Zanpakuto in Sunayashiro Tokinada's hand. Another merciless teardown. The Nine Heavens Mirror Valley I just mentioned. It's just that you deliberately used a name to disguise yourself in order to deceive others. Its real name should be Yan Luo Jing Dian, right? When Bai Chen's voice, transmission through the air. The moment when it came to the ear lightly, Sunayashiro Tokinada's body violently trembled as if struck by lightning. Suddenly, an unspeakable feeling of fear emerged from the bottom of my heart. Why? How could you know so many secrets? Huge oppression. Sunayashiro Tokinada almost stopped breathing. Not only was he out of breath, he even lost the ability to organize language in a short time. His eyes widened in horror, looking at Bai Chen's eyes, as if looking at a monster. Pretending to watch my Zanpakuto. Actually, I intend to use the ability of Yan Luo Jing Dian. Secretly copy the ability of the wood Zanpakuto. I have to say, your wishful thinking is quite resounding. Although for a while, because of those dozens of servants of the Sunayashiro family, the Kido enchantment built together has been completely condensed and formed. But, Bai Chen didn't care at all. Even turned the tables on the guest, putting this special Kido enchantment on it. Think of it as a reverse bondage to Sunayashiro Tokinada. Because, facing the Zanpakuto, Yan Luo Jing Dian, who offered to come to your door. Bai Chen is also very interested in this ancient and evil Zanpakuto. If I remember correctly, Yan Luo Jing Dian in the long past. Various different classes of Zanpakuto abilities have been copied. For example, Chojiro's Yanling Maru, and Kenpachi's Zanpakuto ability of the first two generations of Kenpachi. Think here. Expectation flashed across Bai Chen's eyes. 7th generation Kenpachi, Kenpachi. 8th generation Kenpachi, Tongcheng District. Both of them have their own Zanpakuto, each with great power. Followed by their death. The other was imprisoned in the bottom of the first team, the Endless Hell. These two mighty Zanpakuto also disappeared forever. However, now with the appearance of Yan Luo Jing Dian as Zanpakuto who once copied the related abilities. Although Yan Luo Jing Dian cannot 100% restore the abilities of the two past Kenpachi. But, for Bai Chen, as long as Yan Luo Jing Dian is liberated, that's enough. Next is fighting. With the wood-style secret technique, it is possible to suppress and absorb Reiatsu's ability characteristics. As long as you are lucky enough. Reiatsu who can absorb Yan Luo Jingdian to imitate the ability. Bai Chen will have a great probability. Able to loot and master the abilities of Kenpachi of all generations. So, Shin 1.7 comes to mind. Bai Chen drew his sword without thinking. Even if he himself can use other methods. It was easy to break through the shackles of Kido's enchantment. However, Hakuho chose to use Zanpakuto to fight Sunayashiro Tokinada. On the one hand, it is to lure Yan Luo Jingdian to liberate. Thus securing the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, capable of Reiatsu looting on it. And on the other hand, Bai Chen has absolute self-confidence. As the entire Shinigami world, one-of-a-kind wood Zanpakuto that is unique. Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, abilities. It will never be successfully copied by Yan Luo Jing Dian. Because, Sunayashiro Tokinada does not have a sage body. And his Reiatsu, who is only at the level of an ordinary captain. Not enough to support Sunayashiro Tokinada's wood-style secret technique. Therefore, the act of Bai Chen drawing his sword. It seems that he has fallen into the other party's trap. But in fact, it was his act of plunder. And from the moment Bai Chen pulled out Zanpakuto, the identities of hunter and prey have been reversed. Instead, Sunayashiro Tokinada is about to become a victim. Chapter 71 Perfect Copy. The same blade of thorns. Advertise here. You know what I'm here for, but you still take the initiative to draw the sword. The moment when the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, is unsheathed. In Sunayashiro Tokinada's long and narrow eyelids, a fiery look instantly ignited. Finally, the wood system Zanpakuto of the heart and soul. It's coming soon. This feeling of power is about to explode. This made Sunayashiro Tokinada's self-confidence swell along with it. Bai Chen, the next thing you should regret is the urge to draw your sword. There was a cold smile from the corner of his mouth. The greedy look in Sunayashiro Tokinada's eyes intensified. At the same time, with excited to keep trembling arms. From the belt around his waist, he pulled out Zanpakuto with a ferocious expression. And also accompanied by Yanluo Jingdian's ancient and long-lasting true liberation language. Drinking from all over the world, entrenched in the horizon, every phenomenon is overridden and cut. Yanluo Jingdian, slender and sharp blade. Standing in front of him holding it sideways. When the liberation words fell, Sunayashiro Tokinada's face was on the face. Showing a despicable and crazy smile. As a result, Zanpakuto in his hand has changed drastically. Boom. An incomparably dazzling white light. Like a white mirror, after a sudden eruption. A very strange thing happened. Quote ? Quote. What's the situation? The Zanpakuto in Tanada-sama's hand, why did the blade suddenly disappear? Now he's just holding a knife handle with his bare hands. This is too bizarre. The surrounding servants of the Sunayashiro family stand outside the large forbidden Kido ward you just built. The pupil is at this moment suddenly shrink to the maximum. But no matter how wide-eyed they are, when looking at the Yanluo Jingdian, after liberation, only a bare handle can be seen from the dazzling light. And the original 13 blade, it also seemed to disappear strangely in an instant. Blades and blades are gone. Became a bladeless Zanpakuto after liberation. Bai Chen's eyes froze. He's not like everyone else though. Regarding the weird form shown by Yanluo Jingdian, feel the horror and panic. But, while staring at this bladeless Zanpakuto, head on, Bai Chen obviously felt it. It is constantly emanating from the inside of the handle. It was like a dark abyss. The weird Reiatsu that keeps spreading around. Evil, spooky, dark. It seems to want to control the power of Yanluo Jingdian. No matter who it is, once it is used, it must sacrifice its life. And actually it is. With the Shikai process over. The corner of Sunayashiro Tokinada's mouth. A line of tiny bloodstains slowly seeped out. The gap between the teeth exposed when grinning, looks creepy. Bai Chen, you should be honored. Not everyone is qualified to witness the liberation of an ancient artifact. Hold the handle of the Yanluo Jingdian. Deeply feel the surge of its endowment after Reiatsu. Sunayashiro Tokinada's smile became crazier than before. He seems to have turned into a complete lunatic. The only thing I covet now. It is the mighty power of the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. Oh, Bai Chen thought about it. Perform Reiatsu outplay. Boom. The extremely powerful Reiatsu blast. Suddenly, it was released from his body as deep as an abyss. Not just disappeared in an instant. The oppression and negative impact brought about by Yanluo Jingdian also enchants surrounding Kido, because he couldn't bear Bai Chen's aura. In 4 directions, every barrier shook violently. It seems like it might collapse on its own at any time. Artifact. It is full of holiness and brilliance. And an evil Zanpakuto that needs to cut the soul and sacrifice life is actually honored as a divine weapon by the world. Don't you think it's ironic? Bai Chen grinned. After using the momentum to suppress the audience. In front of Sunayashiro Tokinada again. Showed disdain and ridicule for Yanluo Jingdian. But, this time in the face of verbal ridicule. Perhaps it was because of the expansion of strength that came with great self-confidence. Sunayashiro Tokinada is not what he used to be. It's easy to break the mentality. But, brush. The handle is straight down. Sunayashiro Tokinada waved it vigorously. At the same time, it kept beating the ground. The next moment, boom. This highland plain. The original barren and barren ground. As if it had been blasted, it suddenly distorted and bulged upwards. After breaking into a large number of stones, countless sharp earth spears were formed. Floating up densely, they all locked on Bai Chen's figure. And this spectacular scene that nearly obscures the sky also caused again the panic and amazement of the attendants of the Sunayashiro family outside. It actually has the power to change the landscape on a large scale in an instant. Yanluo Jingdian. Is it Zanpakuto of the earth type? A Zanpakuto that can rule the earth is terrifying enough. At this time, in the eyes of all attendants, they have already subconsciously regarded Yanluo Jingdian as an earth element Zanpakuto that can control the earth. Edo. Bai Chen is very clear in his heart. If I'm not mistaken. Is this supposed to be the power of Zanpakuto, earth catfish? Use multiple tapping methods to cause riots on the ground. It's just that the user's Reiatsu is stronger. So the effect is doubled and significantly improved compared to the original. As a person who knows all the secrets of the other party, Bai Chen saw the truth of the scene in front of him at a glance. Sunayashiro Tokinada just imitated. It is Zanpakuto, earth catfish, of Yoshinosuke Kuretani, a member of the Juban team. And those at the moment, suspended in midair, huge earthen gun. It is the attack skill of earth catfish, after its strength is multiplied. In the face of hundreds of earth guns, enough to split the earth. Should you have to take out Zanpakuto to deal with it? Sunayashiro Tokinada sneered, a determined tone. It seemed as if he had completely controlled the situation. But, it did as he wished. With Sunayashiro Tokinada pointing across the air. All the sharp earth guns roared and shot towards Bai Chen. Once hit by a soil gun. Then no matter how powerful the spirit body is, it will die suddenly in an instant. And at this time, The moment when the danger plummets. Bai Chen responded by unhurriedly pulling out the Zanpakuto. Lithium. Zanpakuto. Wooden dragon, unsheathed. The sharp and slender blade was held straight upside down in front of him. At the same time, it is accompanied by the unique and vast liberating language of the wood system Zanpakuto. The tree that soars to the sky. The soil that shakes the earth. The wild wind of nature. The forest that moves the clouds. Force it. Wooden dragon. Bai Chen's voice was sonorous and powerful. The aura of the whole body burst out without reservation. Substantial transcendence Reiatsu. Not only did it blast through the air in an instant, and detonated the spirit in the air. At the same time, it caused a strong roar and vibration in the atmosphere. And pass along the air all the way. Quickly spread to the surrounding area. What a terrifying aura. These two Zanpakuto, one is scarier than the other. When the bright green light, after suddenly bursting out from the blade of the wooden dragon, with great momentum. Attendants of the Sunayashiro family. The pressure they can bear has finally reached the limit. Everyone is ashamed, even with Kido of the Sunayashiro family standing in front of him. But the pressure from the continuous attack still awakened the deepest fear in their hearts. Even if it weren't for the fear of the power of Sunayashiro Tokinada. And I am afraid that I will suffer cruel revenge and liquidation afterwards. If not, just for a while, there are more than half of the people. Because of too much fear, I couldn't help but want to turn around and run away. Are you kidding me? It's just the momentum when it was liberated. It actually almost broke the barrier directly. Later. With the release of the wood-style mystery. This highland plain near the Palace of Confessions. It is bound to be directly blown up by the forest and trees, right? Thinking of the recent period. There are various legends about Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. The attendants of the Sunayashiro family were suddenly terrified. But, as their leader, Sunayashiro Tokinada's face was completely different. Crazy expression that trembles with excitement. Ha! Bai Chen. This moment. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. Sunayashiro Tokinada grinned. The smile is full of joy and satisfaction. Completely disregarding all the soil guns he blasted just now. After being dispersed by the aura of the wooden dragon. The scene where it turned into fine stone chips and fell into tons from midair. And completely immersed in it. Effortless. It easily copied the ecstasy of the power of the wooden dragon. However, facing his maniacal laughter, on Bai Chen Junlang's face, there was a sarcastic smile in response. Tatsunayashiro Tokinada, are you excited? If I were you, the most important thing to do right now is hurry up. Before taking advantage of the movement caused by the wooden dragon, to attract the Shinigami captains. Deliberately show off the copied wood Zanpakuto power in front of me, and then retreat. Obviously a victim. But Bai Chen turned the other way, persuading Sunayashiro Tokinada what to do next. And his tone was full of sarcasm. Instantly played the effect of exciting general method. Let Sunayashiro Tokinada feel very uncomfortable. Exclamation mark. Bai Chen, you who have been copied from Zanpakuto, you have no right to dictate in front of me. Sunayashiro Tokinada roared angrily, not to mention. Even if you don't tell me, I'm about to do it. Finished speaking. Sunayashiro Tokinada raised his hand. Mimic Bai Chen's movement when he liberated Zanpakuto just now. Deliberately in a vicious tone. With a sneer, he sneered and said. Bai Chen, feel it good, by your own Zanpakuto power. The pain of being attacked. Sharp and hoarse laughter. As if he had foreseen, Richen's expression would change drastically next time. Then, when the momentum condenses to the peak. From Sunayashiro Tokinada's mouth, the same liberation words suddenly came out. The tree that soars to the sky. The soil that shakes the earth. The wild wind of nature. The forest that moves the clouds. Unleash the power of nature. Wooden dragon. This moment. The bladeless Zanpakuto held by Sunayashiro Tokinada. It was originally as transparent as a lens. Instantly replaced by a burst of green light. This is the unique color of wood Zanpakuto. A sign that the wood-style mystery is about to explode. Ha, that's what it feels like. A superpower that can rule the forest and the earth. When the power continues to expand, Sunayashiro Tokinada's smile also became more ferocious. Soon after, as the green light gradually dissipated, the Zanpakuto in his hand is no longer in the form of nothing, but completely changed, and the one held in Bai Chen's hand. Appearance, shape, color, almost exactly the same blade of thorns. TLF. Sunayashiro Tokinada's wish finally got his wish. He smoothly replicated the power of the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, perfectly. Chapter 72 Hungry Corridor. Ready to summon 9 tails. Advertise here. At the same time, just twice in a row. Waves when Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, is liberated. On the high plains near the penitent palace. The imposing manor is incomparably huge, when the clouds in the sky are washed away. As Bai Chen mocked, even with the suppression of the Kido enchantment. And the buildings in this area near the Palace of Confessions. All are made of murderous stone. It is still impossible to restrain, this movement is too loud. Therefore, in just a split second, soon the whole Seraiti was shocked. instantly caught the attention of the entire Gotei 13. At this time, a team house. It was originally a quiet team room. Because of Zanpakuto's wooden dragon momentum, he attacked twice in a row. There was an exclamation of doubt in an instant. Quote question mark exclamation mark quote. This is the imposing manner of Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. It seems to come from the direction of the Repentance Palace. Why is Bai Chen liberating Zanpakuto there for no reason? Old man Sparrow stepped Chojiro. The tightly wrinkled white brows were almost in a mess. He walked quickly to the edge of the ledge, looked to the south through the window, which is the direction where the Confession Palace is located. Deep inside I felt very surprised. Because today is only Bai Chen's first day in the team. And follow the laws clearly stated in Gotei 13. Unless it encounters an enemy attack from the travel disaster invasion. Or internal rebellion, and other sudden accidents. If not, whether it's the officers and soldiers, or the Shinigami captains, are not allowed, within the Seraiti without permission, to liberate Zanpakuto. So, is there an enemy attack on the Repentance Palace? It shouldn't be. After a moment of simple thinking, Sparrow Chojiro shook his head violently. This unrealistic self-guessing was quickly dismissed. A team. As the leader of each team. Rule over all Shinigami. Any decision and action must be reported to a team. After the permission of the captain. Only then can it be carried out publicly in Seraiti and Soul Society. And so far, Sparrow Chojiro, who coordinates with the team as the adjutant. No received from covert maneuvers. And information from the Technology Development Bureau. And he didn't think so either. Even if you really need to eliminate enemy attacks. It's not the turn of Bai Chen who joins the team on the first day, and he's only in the third place. Shinigami captains. Is it for dry food? Chojiro. You seem to have overlooked something. The fluctuation of Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, exploded twice in a row. And the time between before and after is very short. Just when Sparrow Chojiro was confused. A timely reminder from the captain came from the side of the wooden case. Captain, what do you mean? Chojiro's pupils shrank suddenly. Immediately, there was a feeling of extreme fear. Since it can be spread on such a large scale, it has affected the entire Seraiti. That proves that these two fluctuations are real. And in this world, it is impossible for two wooden dragons to appear at the same time. The captain lowered his eyes, while analyzing carefully and slowly. The originally turbid pupils instantly became as bright as torches. He then analyzed in a deep voice. Unless someone used some method to deprive or copy the power of Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, for a short time. And looking at the entire Soul Society, there is only one person who has the ability to do this. When it comes to this, the answer is already there. Even the captain pauses. Did not go on. Sparrow Chojiro also had a sudden realization. Sunayashiro Tokinada. This is because I deliberately killed my wife back then. And the man under house arrest by Central 46. It should be that he copied the power of Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, by using the artifact, Yanluo Jing Dian, passed down from generation to generation in the family. Rubbing his chin, he stroked his gray beard. Sparrow Chojiro blurted out. That's right. The captain nodded noncommittally, and said firmly. Only the power of Yanluo Jing Dian can perfectly copy the Zanpakuto of others. The old man just didn't expect that Sunayashiro Tokinada, who had been silent for many years, would secretly stare at Bai Chen. In the captain's cold voice, there was obvious surprise. Obviously, even he didn't expect it. Sunayashiro Tokinada is so bold. Actually in Seraiti, openly to Bai Chen Tianwei. Captain, now how to do? Do you need to rush to the Repentance Palace in time to stop Sunayashiro Tokinada? If he is allowed to continue to do evil, it may have an unpredictable and bad impact on the entire Seraiti. When mentioning the name, Sunaya Tokinada, Sparrow Step Chojiro frowned. For this notorious nobleman in the past, tricky and difficult to feel from the heart. If it were someone else, let's say Shinigami from Gotei 13. He only needs to issue an order, and he can easily stop or even arrest the other party. Yeah, Sunayashiro family, but the head of the four nobles. Existing time, more than thousands, 10,000 years long. Much older than Gotei 13. Therefore, no matter how dissatisfied, Chojiro also has no authority. A person who can deal with the four nobles without authorization. What's more, Sunayashiro Tokinada, who is still the head of the family. But it was beyond Chojiro's expectations. Just when he was still worried about how to properly deal with this sudden accident. The commander-in-chief, however, sat still. Sitting quietly on the futon, he calmly said in a low voice. No need to worry, no need to be nervous. Even if we don't take action, this turmoil will surely subside soon. Although Yanluo Jing Dian can cover everything, copy everything Zanpakuto. But in Shinigami battles, Reiatsu decides everything after all. In the words of the captain, he revealed his trust and recognition of Bai Chen's strength, and said firmly. In the case of a disparity in Reiatsu, if nothing else happens, Sunayashiro Tokinada will soon lose. At that time, we can take people to the Palace of Repentance. From beginning to end, the captain is serious. There is no slight change in expression and demeanor. Obviously expected. After Sunayashiro Tokinada was defeated by Bai Chen. The scene where he was escorted by the criminal army for violating the injunction of the trial. At the same time, here on the plateau of the penitentiary, everything was as the captain expected. Although Gangyashiro Tokinada did copy successfully. And the Yan Luo Jing Dian, in his hand, also in the soaring Reiatsu blast, transformed into a thorn blade. It didn't take long for Sunayashiro Tokinada to be proud. Then when he tried to cast the wood-style secret technique. It was a shocking discovery. This blade of thorns in my hand. Except for the most common slashing and piercing. Can't use any skills. Just copied the appearance of wood dragon. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I have obviously successfully copied it perfectly. But why can't I gather Reiatsu and summon forests and trees? When the mood is in the ultimate excitement. But at the top position, when it was hit suddenly. This kind of violent ups and downs is like a roller coaster. In an instant, Sunayashiro Tokinada couldn't help but break his defense. His eyes were red, while holding the blade of thorns tightly. In the eye sockets, the eyeballs bulge out, ferocious and terrifying. The whole person seems to have completely degenerated into a lunatic. While desperately brandishing the blade. While roaring hysterically. Oh, this is what happens when you get overwhelmed by excessive power. Bai Chen was expressionless, ignoring the oncoming roaring questioning. Instead, he cast a sympathetic look at Sunayashiro Tokinada. As if looking at a man for not getting a handout. And the desolate beggar who became angry from embarrassment. But, after the extreme anger, it should be crazy revenge. Although watching with cold eyes. But Bai Chen also did a good job. Get ready for Sunayashiro Tokinada's crazy revenge at any time. Don't even think about it. With the vicious and brutal character of the other party. If you can't get it, you will definitely try to destroy it. Really, after roaring and venting all the rage. Sunayashiro Tokinada had a hideous face. Once again, he raised the Zanpakuto in his hand high. And at this time, with replication lifted, thorn blade's appearance disappears. Reverted back to the edgeless sword with no blade at the beginning. Only, around Sunayashiro Tokinada, more than 30 scattered Reiatsu. Looming in the air, a beast-like Reiatsu emerged. And in just a moment, then it became materialized, with a diameter of more than 3 meters. A huge white sphere, and scary monster creatures with huge teeth. When you see these monsters, after dense appearance, Bai Chen's eyes lit up instantly. Deep in his heart, there also emerged the belief that he was determined to win. It really appeared. The Zanpakuto ability of the 7th generation Kenpachi. Rare creature type, summon type Zanpakuto. Hungry corridor. This moment, Bai Chen didn't think about it. Towards the inside of the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, a large amount of Reiatsu is poured. And quickly launched the wood-style secret. Very poisonous. The flower and tree world is coming. The voice fell, affected by the forces of nature. The land under Bai Chen's feet was originally a barren plateau. All soil and stones, like a vortex, violently undulating. And riots, boom, in the deafening roar. Originally, the end could be seen at a glance, and there were flat plateaus everywhere. Instantly fell apart. A large number of pitch-black cracks in the ground were thrown towards Zhou Yan in a terrifying manner. And in this process, countless huge trees and vines protruding from the ground. While towering and rising, there are countless huge flowers blooming at the top. And moving forward, in the process of raiding and entanglement. Along the way, tons of pollen visible to the naked eye were released. Created a light yellow mist that can paralyze the nerves. What kind of skill is this? Bai Chen. You can still release poison. Crazy, resentful expression. For a moment, it seemed to be completely frozen. At this time, within the field of vision of Sunayashiro Tokinada. In addition to covering the sky and covering the sun, the trees rolling all over the sky and the vast expanse. There is also a fog so thick that the visibility of the field of vision is reduced to the lowest. Facing such a terrifying situation that has never been encountered before. Goodlies. Sunayashiro Tokinada regained consciousness in an instant. But he was horrified to find that there were Kido barriers around him. It was originally intended to trap Bai Chen. But now it has become a grave dug for myself. What made Sunayashiro Tokinada even more desperate? He had just harnessed the power of the hungry corridor. Condensed and summoned those gnawing monsters. After the flower and tree world came. In an instant, it was entangled by trees and vines. Then in the blink of an eye, because Reiatsu was absorbed. First it becomes shriveled, then completely disintegrated and disappeared. The power of the hungry corridor. It was absorbed, plundered and left just like that. This moment, Sunayashiro Tokinada was horrified to find out. He can no longer see from the inside of Yan Luo Jing Dian. Sensing the slightest Reiatsu related to hungry corridor. Obviously, this power that has been lost for many years. After being violently entangled by vines just now. It was directly robbed by Bai Chen and left. You should have found out, right? From the beginning, this trap was set up for yourself. I noticed the change in Sunayashiro Tokinada's expression. Bai Chen was very satisfied with the results of the plunder. I can't help but start looking forward to. Now that the looting has been successful and indirectly controlled, this creature is the power of Zanpakuto. So, can you use the power of the hungry corridor combined with the interior of the soul space, the second template that has not yet awakened? In the future, more powerful creatures will be summoned to come. Uchiha Madara's former summoning beast. Nine-Tails Demon Fox. Chapter 73 Kuretsuchi Mayuri's request. Sister Wa is waiting. Advertise here. Soon after. This battle took place near the Palace of Confessions. In the end there is no suspense. Ended with the fiasco of Sunayashiro Tokinada and his entourage. Facing can paralyze the nerves in an instant. And the yellow pollen mist that spreads in a wide range. Even trees and vines. Winding has not yet been performed. Sunayashiro Tokinada fell unconscious instantly. And with his fall, the wicked Zanpakuto Yan Luo Jing Dian flies out of his hands. Bang bang. Fell to the ground. It has degenerated back into its original state when it was not liberated. Densely packed, so many people fell down. Destroyed this plateau to pieces again. By the way, the old man and the others will come later, shouldn't they blame me? By looting Reiatsu's way, after obtaining the power of hungry corridor. Bai Chen was in a good mood at the moment, looking at the lying corpses all over the ground, he muttered to himself. Although it's a no-brainer. Easily defeated Sunayashiro Tokinada and his entourage. However, Bai Chen does not intend to make up the knife. Instead, stay where you are and wait. Tell him intuitively. It won't be long. Xingjun, Kido Congregation, Technology Development Bureau. And headed by the captains will show up soon. The idea of speculation has only just arisen. Swipe, swipe, swipe. In less than a minute, there was another burst of breaking wind. It rang out one after another. There are a large number of figures in black dead bully suits. Came from all different directions of Seraiti. Appeared on the ruins of this severely damaged plateau. Alas, this time it's not just about summoning trees and forests. It can still bloom and bear fruit. Is the pollen highly poisonous? Bai Chen 3 seats, your Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. It's getting more and more scary. The familiar hearty laughter sounded. White Captain Houri above. Batch of Kyoraku Shunsui wrapped in signature pink floral dress. 547 after landing. First glance around. Watching the vast and boundless flower and tree world descend. And those yellow mist that melted into the air and gradually dissipated. It is Kyoraku Shunsui who has already made mental preparations. Or because of the spectacular scene in front of me. And can't help but sigh. Yes, Bai Chen, although as your captain. But I have to say, you made too much noise this time. It even almost affected the Repentance Palace and the Shuangjitai. At this time, Jashiro Yukataki and Shiba Kyan also appeared. Despite what I just said. In fact, there is no meaning of blame. But when talking, Jashiro Yukataki, whose complexion is slightly pale due to the weakness of energy and blood. Still shaking his head helplessly. Obviously today is only the first day of joining the team. As the third seat Bai Chen. Haven't even started learning about teamwork yet. He actually got into a fight with the four nobles even if he didn't agree with each other. This sudden accident. It's really overwhelming. Captain Jashiro. Let me explain in advance that he led people to block the way. It's not that I want to take the initiative to provoke the Sunayashiro family. Stretching out his fingers, he fell unconscious. Because excessive inhalation of pollen is highly toxic. And Sunayashiro Tokinada, who was temporarily paralyzed. Bai Chen explained calmly. If you don't believe me, just ask Captain Mayutoshi of the Technology Development Bureau. Finished speaking. Bai Chen turned his head. Looked to the other side. At this time, on the suspension bridge leading to Shuangjitai. Kuretsuchi Mayuri also arrived with people from the Technology Development Bureau. In fact, under normal circumstances, he is not very happy to show his face in public. It's just that the incident happened suddenly and alarmed the whole Seraiti BDAA. Therefore, as the director of the Technology Development Bureau, in order to avoid the captain and the central 4006 rooms being rented, Rao is that Kuretsuchi Mayuri doesn't bother to intervene anymore. You must also go out in person and clarify in person. He, suddenly asked by Bai Chen. Kuretsuchi Mayuri paused, then let out a grim laugh. Bai Chen, I didn't expect. Facing the enchantment of the Sunayashiro family, you actually broke it so easily. It seems that these dozens of attendants are all worthless. Even though it didn't answer the question directly. However, Kuretsuchi Mayuri's remarks can be regarded as indirectly clearing Bai Chen's suspicion. At least in the ruins of the ground crack right now. The servants of the Sunayashiro family are in despair. And the enchantment fragments that are as transparent as a mirror. It also basically agrees with what Kuretsuchi Mayuri said. Captain Mayuri, as a scientific research expert, you are really objective and fair. Bai Chen nodded slightly. The favorability of Kuretsuchi Mayuri has been slightly increased. Just now, the reason why he didn't leave in a hurry. It was identified, as early as the beginning. The Reiatsu explosion of the attendants is collectively timed. The Technology Development Bureau must have simultaneously monitored signs of abnormal fluctuations in Reiatsu. Therefore, as long as Kuretsuchi Mayuri did not avenge himself publicly, willing to truthfully report the monitoring status, then the identity of Bai Chen's victim is stone-hammered. Avoid because of violating team rules, and suffered severe punishment from the captain. Just then, boom, like a walking sun, the captain exudes a powerful aura. Accompanied by Sparrow Chojiro, the grand finale finally came. Oh 5. Bai Chen, what happened, the ins and outs of everything. The old man has already fully understood. An ancient wooden staff rests in both hands. The captain raised his eyes, because he was pointing towards Richen's gaze. Then he looked at Sunayashiro Tokinada, who fell unconscious on the ground. With a solemn expression, he said, as for this violation of regulations many times, the 4 noble villains who rebelled against the Seraiti order, for the time being, the criminal army will be responsible for escorting. After the trial of Central 46, we will decide what to do with Sunayashiro Tokinada. The captain's sonorous voice, it resounded through the broken highlands. It is also completely announced that this replication storm has come to an end. As one of the few tongued people in the Soul Society, maybe others will fear the 4 great nobles, but the captain is an exception. As the strongest Shinigami in the millennium, and the founder of Gote 13. Anyone, in any capacity, as long as they violate the rules, the captain will never bend the law for personal gain. Even members of the 4 great nobles will definitely receive due punishment and warnings. But what surprised Bai Chen was, when everyone is about to disband and leave, Kuretsuchi Mayuri actually took the initiative to come to the door. Rare to consult with Bai Chen. Bai Chen. Everyone's time is precious, so I won't beat around the bush. Under the blue and white mask, in Kuretsuchi Mayuri's rolling eyes, full of greed and interest, looking at Bai Chen squarely, he said bluntly, I'm sorry for what you released just now. I'm very interested in the highly poisonous pollen that can spread in a large area and paralyze the nerves and senses. I don't know if you are interested, come to the Technology Development Bureau, I will do you a favor. Suddenly, Kuretsuchi Mayuri made a request. Help. Bai Chen was stunned for a moment. Full of surprise, he asked back. I don't know Captain Yuri, what do you want me to do for you? Are you planning to refine pollen that is highly poisonous? Bai Chen just asked casually. In the end, he really guessed it. Hee. That's right, my Zanpakuto, Kishijizo. Whether Shikai or Bankai, can release purple poison. It's just that I always feel that there is something lacking in toxicity. Kuretsuchi Mayuri lowered his eyes. The eye falls on the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. He grinned and said excitedly. If my Jizo kills. If you can incorporate those highly poisonous yellow pollen. Then it's not just that the toxicity has become stronger. There will also be a huge improvement in combat power. So, as long as you agree, I can use instruments and equipment to record and simulate data. Thus transforming and upgrading the Daizang Jizo. In this world, everyone is eager to chase power. Naturally, Kuretsuchi Mayuri is no exception. He will not easily miss any opportunity that may come true. Not to mention many years ago, Kuretsuchi Mayuri has been working on the artificial transformation of Zanpakuto. So, for him, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It depends on whether Bai Chen will give this face in the future. This is, after thinking for a moment, Bai Chen agreed without thinking. If only the data of flower and tree realm arriving is recorded. It's just a trivial matter. It won't affect me in any way. But, pause for a moment, Bai Chen looked at Kuretsuchi Mayuri. Turning up the corner of his mouth, smiling playfully, he deliberately asked. Captain Mayuri, in this way, you should be in debt to me. Certainly, although at present, you don't seem to need my help. But in the future, if you have any needs about Zanpakuto and the soul, as long as I can, I will do my best to help you solve your problems. Aloof character. The always defiant Kuretsuchi Mayuri. It is rare to make a promise on the initiative in front of outsiders. And Bai Chen also inadvertently. A new achievement has been unlocked. It actually made Kuretsuchi Mayuri owe himself an artificial one. So, Bai Chen, when are you free to go to the Technology Development Bureau? Just as Kuretsuchi Mayuri couldn't wait. When you want to take Bai Chen away immediately. Hiroku Shunsui suddenly intervened, interrupting their conversation. Pole, brother Bai Chen, things are first come, first served. Don't you forget that you made a promise with Captain Unohana Retsu. Hiroku Shunsui smiled heartily. Yeah, after the martial arts assessment in the academy. I promised Sister Wa that after joining the team, I will go to the 4th team to have a kendo competition. Bai Chen realized suddenly. Then he asked Hiroku Shunsui, King Band Leader, what do you mean? Captain Unohana Retsu, she is already waiting for me in the 4th division. That's right. Hiroku Shunsui nodded. He patted Bai Chen on the shoulder, and encouraged him as a senior. Go to the 4th team now. It's both a discussion and a practice. After this trip, your strength in kendo will definitely improve tremendously. It's even possible. So I was promoted to be a great swordsman. Chapter 74 The Evil Past. First generation Kenpachi reappears. Advertise here. Then, follow Kyoraku Shunsui to spread the word. Bai Chen could only temporarily change his mind. Temporarily dismissing the idea of going to the Technical Development Bureau with Kuretsuchi Mayuri. Instead, I chose to leave for the 4th team. I didn't expect. It turns out that Sister Wa has been secretly waiting for this day to come. In the process of going to the 4th Division team building. Even Bai Chen himself was surprised by how much he was valued. Actually speaking, between him and Unohana Reiatsu. But only one side. Except for the martial arts assessment, there is almost no intersection. But, respect and value are relative. For Unohana Reiatsu's strength, rich and sincerely heavy. To know, take a look at the entire Gotei 13. In terms of, dew of the sword, he is truly the pinnacle of people. Not even a handful. Strictly speaking, there are only 2 of them. First, it's the captain, Yamamoto Yuan Ryuchi Shigekuni. As the founding group of Yuanliu, and the head coach of Yuanzishu. The captain was as early as more than 1,000 years ago. In the Soul Society, Kendo is widely taught. And after 2,000 years of accumulation and perception, the captain's level of Kendo is undeniably domineering and fierce. And until now, still being praised by spirits all the time. But, unlike the captain, shining like the sun all the time, Unohana Reiatsu instead chose to go into seclusion 1,000 years ago. Abandoned the identity of first generation Kenpachi. Also gave up the past full of killings. Hands are no longer filled with blood. From then on, Unohana Reiatsu character change. She is no longer an unprecedented villain. Instead, he became a doctor who saved lives and healed the wounded. Bai Chen was very clear in his heart. Unohana Reiatsu never gave up her obsession with Kendo. The reason why she has been hiding her identity. Just because, have not been able to meet again. A man who is truly qualified to please himself. And now. That person is obviously Bai Chen. That's why Sister Wa secretly waited silently. Quickly, after a long journey, Bai Chen finally arrived at the destination. And his sudden visit. Of course, there was some commotion. It made the members of the 4th team who were originally comfortable. In an instant, all eyes were focused on Bai Chen. This is Soul Society's first ever talent. Recognized as the strongest 3 seats in history, Bai Chen. Because Bai Chen is too famous. As early as the day when the team members were selected, because they overwhelmed the captains. Long known throughout Seraiti, he has become the person everyone talks about after dinner and tea. Therefore, Bai Chen had just entered the gate of the team building. The officers and soldiers of the 4th team, the first reaction is to feel surprised and pleasantly surprised. Followed by neat bows and salutes. Say hello to Bai Chen with awe-inspiring eyes. Meet Bai Chen for 3 seats. Hello you all. Bai Chen smiled slightly, responded with a polite smile. Then he stood there and waited, while observing the surrounding environment. It is different from the few team houses he has been to before. 4th team. As a medical logistics team. In addition to the well-proportioned Japanese-style buildings in the team building. Look around. Can be seen everywhere. A lot of bamboo and flowers. Beautiful environment. Fascinating. It looks like a beautiful back garden. Let the subconscious body and mind relax. And just in between Bai Chen's immersive viewing. Soon, after being notified by the team members, the person in charge of reception appeared. Walking oncoming. It's a man and a woman. The one on the left has short yellow hair and a pair of white reflective glasses. The 4th team has 3 seats. Adjutant Assistant, Yi Zhongchun Yashijanhe. And his side, although the appearance is more neutral. But the figure is exquisite, and she also has 2 cute little bear pets. Vice Captain of Division 4, Tiger Toru voiceless. 3 seats at Bai Chen. Nudge the white glasses. After coming to the front, stop. Yi Zhongchun greeted Bashijan enthusiastically. Although it is the same as 3 seats. But when facing Bai Chen. When he spoke, he deliberately used honorifics. And this is only when facing Captain Shinigami. A deliberate expression of awe-filled attitude. Obviously. In Yi Zhongchun Yashijanhe's heart, Bai Chen's identity and status are almost equal to that of a Shinigami captain. Hello. You should know that I came to visit Captain Unohana Reiatsu on purpose, right? Bai Chen responded with a smile. At the same time, the peripheral vision fell on Katetsu Aizen without a trace. Tisk. Compared to Hutch Qingyan, who is still fresh. I didn't expect that. As a big sister, Katetsu Aizen's figure is so amazing. Although because of personality reasons, Katetsu Aizen doesn't like to deliberately show his figure. Hence her dead bully outfit. It was also intentionally tailored. Slightly one size larger than regular size. But even so. Those baggy black fabrics still can't hide the eye-catching good figure. Especially the 2 little pets seem to be aggressive at any moment. Jump out and scare others like that. Bai Chen just glanced at it, and couldn't help but find it pleasing to the eye. Of course, because they are standing face to face. Bai Chen's gaze, of course, was noticed by Katetsu Aizen. Although silent, but Katetsu Aizen's face, but it turned rosy with a brush. Then subconsciously, I curled up a bit. It's just her behavior. On the contrary, it highlights the beautiful lines and radiance. Let Bai Chen watch with more relish. That. Bai Chen 3 seats, please come inside. Captain Unohana Retsu, I'm already waiting in the team office. Just for a while, Katetsu Azane's face was as red as an iron. Usually timid and introverted, she is easily shy. Quickly changed the subject, and turned around to lead the way. In order not to be watched by Bai Chen again, he will faint because of the heat in his head. Please lead the way, both of you. Watching Katetsu Azane's back. Bai Chen smiled slightly, then follow behind the two. Go deep into the team building of the 4th Division, and walk towards the team affairs room. Not long after. Arrive. 3 seats of Bai Chen. Captain Unohana Retsu, in the team office. Come on, let's not bother you for now. Apparently Unohana Retsu had given that up front. So I brought Bai Chen all the way to the team office. Hutch Qingyan, and Yashijan and the 2 of Yi Zhongkun. There is no plan to go in with them. Instead, he made a, please, gesture, signaling Bai Chen to enter by himself. It's time for you too. After nodding their heads in thanks. Bai Chen stepped forward and pushed open the door of the team office. As soon as you walk into the team room, the first thing that catches the eye is the decoration full of classic atmosphere. And the inside of the house that is illuminated by the sun outside the window. It is a faint fragrance of medicinal materials and grasses. It can be seen on weekdays. Whenever I have free time. Unohana Retsu is not alone in her research on pharmacology. Bai Chen, you're finally here. See Bai Chen appear. Unohana Retsu, who was sitting quietly in front of the wooden table, looked up. Under the tangled black hair, there was a quiet and gentle smile. Unlike Katetsu Azane, Unohana Retsu doesn't talk much though. But whenever in contact with others, Sister Wa always showed a tender side. With a very friendly smile. Let people let their guard down inadvertently. At the same time, it also shows the unique charm of mature women. Captain Unohana Retsu, when facing Sister Wa. Bai Chen didn't look offended. Instead, he respectfully and politely came to the wooden case. Quote. Unexpectedly, Captain Unohana Retsu, you also like to drink spirits. Looking down at the wooden table, the small coffee table on display, and the teacups made of fine pillars and carefully crafted. Bai Chen couldn't help feeling a little surprised. Because, in the culture of small days, asking for flowers, sake, without a doubt, is the most popular culture. And Gote 13 inside, people who like to drink are everywhere. After handling the daily team affairs every day, most people love a drink in the evening. But, really be able to calm down. There are not many people who drink tea quietly. B. Not just to moisten the throat. It also represents tea art and tea ceremony. And this is also a long-term way to hone your patience and cultivate your state of mind. Unohana Retsu said while smiling. While reaching out, he picked up a cup of hot tea and handed it to Bai Chen. Come from afar. Drink a few cups of hot tea first, and take a short rest. It's not too late to discuss and exchange sword skills after you have completely calmed down. Unohana Retsu gestured with a smile. It seems to be intentionally reminding the cultivation of the state of mind. It is also an important link in the do of sword that cannot be ignored. Captain Unohana Retsu, I probably understand what you mean. It seems that you think that my current accumulation and precipitation are not enough in terms of mood. After taking a sip of tea, Bai Chen clearly felt every taste bud on the tongue cavity. They all exude a fragrant tea fragrance. Immediately there is a refreshing effect. That's right, it is undeniable that your sword skills and actual combat ability are indeed impeccable. First of all, praise it truthfully. Unohana Retsu goes straight. Said bluntly, but, want to go further on the road of the sword. To become a true sword master, you must also have a state of mind that can match accordingly. Although still smiling, but Unohana Retsu's tone became harsh and persistent. Thank you Captain Unohana Retsu for your correction. Bai Chen accepted it humbly. And empathize. Then he thought about it. While tasting the green tea in the bamboo cup. Soon after. Unohana Retsu put down the cup slowly. White. You should have entered the state, right? Unohana Retsu stood up smiling. He took the lead to walk out of the house. Let's go. In the 4th team, there is a dojo dedicated to training chopping skills. This is for the convenience of my practice back then. And specifically applied to the captain to build it. The murderous stone barrier there, as well as the special Kido spell enchantment, can ensure the smooth progress of the swordsmanship. After leaving the team room, under the watchful eyes of Katetsu Azane and others, as well as all the team members, Unohana Retsu brought Bai Chen to the south side of the team building. One came here. Sure enough, Bai Chen saw an old building. It seems to be an ancient dojo that has experienced years of wind and rain. Bai Chen, don't worry. Although because of the long years, it looks worn and old everywhere. However, the inside of the dojo will be cleaned by team members every day. So don't worry about the problem of being in disrepair. Unohana Retsu smiled back. After explaining patiently, he pushed open the door of the dojo. Bai Chen followed closely behind. The two walked into the venue where the street club was going to have a sword fight. Sure enough, it was cast from a murderous stone. And it also comes with multiple mysterious and complicated rune restrictions. With a strong perception ability, Bai Chen couldn't help sighing after only looking around a few times. I'm afraid there is only Sister Wahoo as a legend. Qualifications, and privileges. Using such ample resources. Let's build a gymnasium dedicated to practicing swords. Bai Chen. For the next discussions and exchanges, please be mentally prepared. Stop. Converge from a gentle smile. Unohana Retsu's expression became more solemn and serious than ever before. She looked at Bai Chen face to face, and warned in a deep voice. Next I will tell you about my past identity and secrets. And exhibiting. Back then I thought I was invincible. Yachinryu Kendo full of bloody spirit. Factory. Chapter 75 Bloody Aura. The terrifying Yakiryu Kendo. Advertise here. Bai Chen. Next, please get ready. I will be in the process of learning and communicating. I will tell you everything about my past without reservation. Stand in the center of the dojo. Unohana Retsu's voice, because the room is too empty. It even formed an echo directly. It echoes non-stop in every corner. At the same time, it also makes the atmosphere instantly different from before. Calm with a bit of anxiety. Like the prelude to a storm. Bai Chen's emotions were instantly infected. I see. Facing Sister Hua's trusting eyes. Bai Chen's eyes gradually became sharper. He can feel it deeply. Unohana Retsu's emphasis on kendo. Absolutely no less than her superb medical skills praised by the world. We can even say, kendo, she is the love of my life. Neither millennium ago was fraught with turmoil, or it is now in a time of peace. Kendo and sword skills have long been integrated into the soul of Unohana Retsu. It even became an instinct. After all, back then, she asked Tianshulang of Qilin Temple for advice. Deliberately learn Kido, and the purpose of healing arts. It's not about saving lives. Instead, I want to be more pleasant, to enjoy the fun of fighting. The next 3 days and 3 nights. I hope you let go of the shackles, enjoy and understand without distracting thoughts. Here, only the purest sword skills have nothing to do with Reiatsu. Miss Wa at this time. The gentle smile on 383 inches S face. It has completely disappeared. She seemed to have removed her disguise and temporarily abandoned her identity as the medical captain of the 4th Division. No longer quiet and elegant. It is no longer tender and tender. 2. Temperament instantly became fierce. The body covered in the deadly tyrant exudes a chilling air. It's like a sharp sword. At the same time, it is a murderous aura as strong as blood. And when this terrifying momentum rose from the ground like a wave of air. Captain Haori on Unohana Retsu. Because of this, it was blown lightly and fell to the ground. 12F. Even Unohana Retsu herself. I also intend to temporarily abandon everything that exists. Dream back to thousands of years ago, wake up the disappeared first generation 8. As expected of a legendary person who has always existed in various rumors. Even without Reiatsu, just relying on this terrifying aura. You can easily suppress those young captains. Until this moment, Bai Chen really understood. It turned out that after the murderous aura became strong to a certain extent. It is not inferior to the imposing oppression brought by Reiatsu. Even more sharp-edged. Go up that wooden frame over there. Take down the 2 scimitar wooden swords that I specially made in order to make the cutting technique more exquisite. Unohana Retsu said in a deep voice. Machete wooden sword. Bai Chen's eyes jumped, turned to look aside. Sure enough, it was on the old wooden frame. Found neatly arranged in rows. Compared with other blades, the blade has a more curved wooden blade. Captain Unohana Retsu, if I'm not mistaken, these crescent-shaped scimitar wooden swords. Isn't it a copy of your Zanpakuto, Shizuku cough? After handing the machete wooden sword to Unohana Retsu. Bai Chen asked intuitively. That's right. This is the first lesson you'll learn next. About the introductory moves of Yachinryu Kendo. Machete slashing technique. The moment the voice fell. There was hardly any chance for Bai Chen to react. The dark eyes of Unohana Retsu. It seemed to be glowing with a layer of bloody and coquettish red light. Then, covering the body in the dead bully outfit, he paced lightly and nimbly. It disappeared from sight in the blink of an eye. And like a ghost, it suddenly appeared behind Bai Chen. At the same time, it looks like a machete wooden sword entwined with a substantial murderous aura. He swung the tip of the sword obliquely. From an extremely tricky angle. Straight to Bai Chen's back. There is no need to advance the posture. Is it possible to perfectly display the swordsmanship? It's just a starting move. Bai Chen frowned. Among the murderous aura that came from behind, he felt the long-lost mortal threat. Every single hair on the back stood up with needles. At the same time deep inside, going a step further for Yachinryu Kendo. Full of curiosity and longing. To know, right now this special dojo. Because of the double suppression of murderous stone and rune prohibition. Maximum limit, flexible use of Reiatsu, Shunpo, and white hits techniques. That is to say, in addition to holding a scimitar and wooden sword. Apart from the purest chopping competition. There is simply no second proper method of fighting here. However, Just that moment. Sister Wa does not rely on Shunpo. Nor does it exude Reiatsu on purpose. He was actually able to make his own figure carry out a backstab sneak attack as if teleporting. Visible scimitar chopping technique. It's not as simple as an ordinary basic formula. It's a terrifying killer move that makes the enemy's head fall to the ground within minutes. Bai Chen, if you are distracted during the fight, you have already lost. The voice of Unohana Retsu. Both harsh and indifferent. It looks like a teacher who is reprimanding students who have made mistakes. However, Bai Chen responded with actions. Captain Unohana Retsu. You are not the only one who can abandon the kendo stance. When the playful laughter sounded on the spot, Bai Chen's figure was twisted strangely. Quote ? Quote. This is, afterimage. Unohana Retsu was stunned. She has amazing insight. It was obvious in an instant. Apparently, that's less than a tenth of a second while speaking. Bai Chen uses the faster secret sword movement. While leaving an afterimage in place, he dodged the backstab in an instant. Secret sword, moon shadow. At the moment when Unohana Retsu lost his mind. Next to her ears, Bai Chen's shout suddenly sounded. You did it on purpose. Use the same means to fight back. After all, he is a full-level master of swordsmanship. And has more than 1,000 years of rich combat experience. Therefore, even in the same situation, seeing that he was about to be stabbed in the back by a machete and a wooden sword. Unohana Retsu is not in a hurry. While questioning in a cold voice, he suddenly turned his back. Another arm without a sword. From the mouth of the pitch-black sleeve robe, a short dagger and dark sword slipped down. When, almost at the same time, the moon shadow slash wielded by Bai Chen followed closely behind. However, it was accurately blocked by the dark sword. It made a piercing crisp sound, resounding throughout the arena. Captain Unohana Retsu, I'm very sorry to disappoint you. I haven't learned the essence of the scimitar slashing technique. Seeing that the slash was ineffective, Bai Chen hurriedly stepped back. Quickly evacuate towards the rear. Once again distanced himself from Unohana Retsu face to face. You have already learned it. Shook his head. Unohana Retsu raised the dark sword in his hand. With a tone full of indifference, he said. You even forced me to fast forward to the second class early. At this time, as the word spread, this incomparably empty dojo seemed to have fallen into a stillness. Only the echoing voice, and the momentum of constant collision between eye contact. Quote. Backstab, hidden sword, the first two lessons of Yachi Ryu Kendo. It's really insidious enough, despite the mouth Satukao. But Bai Chen knew it well. 1,000 years ago, the order of the Soul Society was far less stable than it is now. Even within Seraiti, there are always riots, as well as assassinations, executions and other bloodshed. Not to mention Rukongai, where there is no management all year round and the living environment is even worse and chaotic. At that age, not just the lower blocks. Anywhere, any location, may be attacked and robbed. Therefore, the two tricks Sister Wa used just now. 1,000 years ago, there was no danger at all, but it could be seen everywhere. Insidious. Bai Chen, you are wrong. Unohana Retsu shook her head indifferently. In a warning tone, he said in a cold voice, in a kendo competition, there is no such thing as insidious. Any sword skill move, as long as it can kill the enemy. That is the most effective ultimate move. Speaking of which, Unohana Retsu lowered her eyes. The temperament of the whole body has once again undergone a sharp change. And this time, it's not as simple as murderous. The aura on Sister Hua's body has completely become bloody and brutal. A terrifying blood-colored evil spirit surged around him. Has it finally appeared? Because the past killed people like hemp, and once stood in the pile of corpses. A substantial momentum condensed. The bloody evil spirit unique to Yachinryu swordsmanship. At this time, Bai Chen couldn't help opening his eyes wide. While looking at Unohana Retsu, he actually had the illusion of being immersed in the river of blood. It's as if, in front of this woman who is indifferent to the ultimate. Instead of being a Shinigami, she becomes due to the blood of countless dead. The piled-up bloody corpse mountain. This weird feeling. It even made Bai Chen subconscious. He parried the scimitar and wooden sword in his hand on his body. Put on a defensive stance. And this is the many battle kings he has experienced during this period of time. The one and only time. Instinctive passive defense. It can be seen from this. 8,000 streams of swordsmanship, and bloody evil spirit. What a horror. Bai Chen, from your eyes, I feel. Received a strong fear. Although I don't feel fear and fear like other people. But this is also 1,000 years ago, so when people look at first generation Kenpachi, what eyes will they show? Sister Wa has a complete showdown. Take the initiative to show the identity of the past. And while speaking, she threw away the dark sword in her hand, and reached out to touch her neck. In front of Bai Chen. Untied the coil at the collarbone. Those jet black hair tied together. When you see this move. Bai Chen's black eyes could not help but ignite a fiery look. Not because fair skin can be seen right away, but because Miss Hua's behavior. It means that she is about to go all out in 2.8. And the next her. It is the real flower of Uno. That was more than 1,000 years ago. The unprecedented villain who calls himself Yachinryu. Then, swipe. After the braid is untied, Unohana Retsu's long black hair was messily scattered on her fragrant shoulders. And right above her collarbone. That piece of fair skin should be like flawless jade. But it still exists. An extremely conspicuous and shocking scar. And this scar appeared. It also awakened Unohana Retsu's heart even more. That suppressed and restrained the desire to kill for thousands of years. Bai Chen. The third lesson of sword fighting will be held soon. How to truly control this bloody evil spirit. The eyes of Unohana Retsu. It seems that it has become completely bright red at this moment. And the death-domineering outfit on his body was also surging with bloody evil energy. Constantly swinging violently. Boom. Just less than a moment. Black, dyed red, the scimitar wooden sword has also become a blood blade. Behind Unohana Retsu, a substantive sea of blood is constantly surging violently. Dense blood-colored bubbles rising continuously from it. Even let the surrounding murderous stone barriers and runes prohibit it. They are constantly vibrating and flickering. Obviously it has been completely suppressed. This horrible evil spirit unique to Yachinryu Kendo. Chapter 76 Perfect Control. Promoted to Great Swordsman. Advertise here. Boom. Because I couldn't hold back Unohana Retsu's momentum. When the terrifying bloody evil spirit flowed along Sister Hua's body. When it explodes, murderous stone barriers around, and special rune restrictions. It actually directly produced high-frequency vibrations visible to the naked eye. The sound of vibration is endless. Not only did it break the original tranquility in the dojo. And in an instant, the atmosphere reached a fever pitch. Even a Zanpakuto that holds a scimitar wooden sword instead of itself. And without Bankai, can you still rely on your momentum to forcibly condense the bloody evil spirit? The legendary 8,000 stream swordsmanship really deserves its reputation. This moment, Bai Chen did not dare to take it lightly. If we talk about Sister Hua before braiding, the most authentic feeling that it brought him. It's more like a person who treats students extremely harshly. And a meticulous kendo teacher. #Ba. Recall the past. Perform identity conversion. Unohana Retsu who thoroughly assumed the role of first-generation Kenpachi. His hands are covered with blood. The whole person seemed to be bathed in a pool of blood. Completely degenerated into a bloody and brutal devil. One of the greatest villains ever seen in the history of the Soul Society. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. It's unbelievable. Except for Aizen in Shinigami. Sister Hua is actually one, with two opposite personalities at the same time. And do not conflict with each other, the perfect combination of people. When like the smell of blood, continuously, accompanied by air waves, they came head-on. Bai Chen frowned at the same time. Once again, I couldn't help but sigh with emotion. As a medical captain, the character of Unohana Retsu. Not only gentle and kind, but also talented and virtuous. Deeply respected and loved by the vast number of soldiers. In the entire Gotei 13, it has the status of the 13 with high morals. And this, very similar to Aizen. The only difference, Aizen is deliberate camouflage. And Sister Hua is kind-hearted. She really has the heart of a doctor who saves lives and heals the wounded. Yeah, today's Unohana Retsu. The degree of indifference is even worse than that of Aizen. When Bai Chen was making eye contact with her, the only thing that can be felt from those bloody eyes. Only endless killing intent, and the desire to fight and fight. It also means that, then there is only constant sword swing and bloodshed. Only then can I be able to make the incarnation of first-generation Kenpachi, Hana feel happy. And want to do this. You must pay the price in blood. Bai Chen, from your eyes, I can feel a slight shake. This is not the look you should have when facing Yachinryu Kendo. It seemed that he was not very satisfied with Bai Chen's reaction. Unohana Retsu raised his hand indifferently, and put the tip of the machete wooden sword. Pointing at Bai Chen's body from a distance. With an indifferent tone that makes people feel angry, he warned in a cold voice. Do you know, I want to quickly control the bloody evil spirit in the 8,000 streams of swordsmanship. Actually, there is a quick way. It is a kind warning. It seems to be deliberately instigating. Sister Hua's cold voice seems to reveal infinite allure. Quick way. After hearing these words, Bai Chen's eyelids twitched. Suddenly there is a feeling of heartbeat. For him. The most desired way to become stronger. There is no doubt that it must be a short-term crash. And Bai Chen has been doing the same for the past few months. Therefore, but there is really a quick way. Even if there is a price to pay, Bai Chen doesn't mind. That's right. Although in the sword skill sparring, after a long time of slashing and parrying. And immerse yourself in comprehension, and you can also get used to the evil spirit a little bit, until you fully master it. But this method is too slow for you. Although the mood becomes indifferent. But Unohana Retsu remained sane. And indirectly praised, Bai Chen's strongest talent in history. But, if you give up parrying and blocking. Continuously get injured and bleed. And if you let the bloody evil energy pass through the wound and directly invade the body. As long as you can hold on and not fall. Not even be killed by my blade. Unohana Retsu narrowed her eyes slightly. The eyes looking at Bai Chen were filled with obvious expectations. Then within 3 days, Bai Chen. You will definitely be able to control the power of bloody evil spirit. Unohana Retsu said bluntly, and the quick method she mentioned is equivalent to suicide, to put it bluntly. Yes, give up resistance. Give up blocking and parrying. Use constant injuries and bleeding in exchange for bloody evil spirits to invade the body. This method, it sure sounds indistinguishable from suicide. Ordinary souls at least can't bear it, even in the process. Hacked alive with a machete wooden sword by Unohana Retsu. But, Bai Chen is different. That's it, contrary to Unohana Retsu's expectations. After listening to what she just said, Bai Chen not only did not flinch or refuse. Instead, he showed a disapproving expression. With a relaxed expression, he asked, Captain Unohana Retsu, if it's that simple, then just pick up the wooden sword and slash at me casually. During this process, I will never raise my hand and hold the sword, and do any blocking or parrying. Although Bai Chen's words, it sounds very arrogant and arrogant. Especially his calm expression, even when Sister Wa gave a solemn warning. What a stark contrast. Therefore, even if Unohana Retsu is emotionally indifferent at the moment. Also because of Bai Chen's straightforwardness and confidence, I was caught off guard. Bai Chen, are you serious? Unohana Retsu couldn't help asking back. She didn't expect that the genius she was optimistic about was actually a masochist. If not, Bai Chen shrugged disapprovingly. Captain Unohana Retsu, you seem to have forgotten my Muji healing ability, but it's even more top-notch than Kido. I even feel that if you swing the knife not fast enough, maybe you can't catch up with the healing speed of my wound. Bai Chen grinned, said deliberately in a joking tone. And his words, it is directly provocative success. Instantly pissed off Unohana Retsu. It's ridiculous. No matter how underestimated people are, there must be a limit. Why do you think that my slash is so vulnerable? Full of sullen voices, even stayed in place. It hasn't spread through the air yet. But the figure of Unohana Retsu holding the sword suddenly disappeared in place. 8,000 streams of swordsmanship, moon shadow slash. When it appears again, backstab again, Sister Wa wields a scimitar and a wooden sword, wrapping chi around the blade. Towards Bai Chen's back, swinging obliquely, he cut off the bloody cut marks like the shadow of the moon. Peef. The sound of flesh and blood. In the empty dojo, it is extraordinarily loud. Everything is just as Sister Wa hoped to see. Has a deadly bully torn face. A shocking blood-colored slash appeared. And the bloody evil spirit. Going through this scar, continuously invade the body. Bai Chen, this is the price you have to pay for arrogance. In the blood-red eyes, there is no trace of pity or sympathy. In Unohana Retsu's indifferent words, there are only murderous thoughts and anger. However, Bai Chen's attitude remained the same. It even feels so far away. Cost, Captain Unohana Retsu. With all due respect, an injury of this magnitude is. To me, it's not even a skin trauma. Look, this is the ability of Muji healing. The voice just fell. No action was seen from Bai Chen either. He only needs a thought to activate his ability instantly. And then a boom. Although Reiatsu was suppressed to the max. But this does not affect the distribution of powerful life energy. The speed of healing. It's too fast. A cold, indifferent facial expression. It was instantly replaced by disbelief and exclamation. Unohana Retsu opened her mouth in astonishment. Almost in the blink of an eye. When the green light flashed past, the wound on Bai Chen's back healed instantly. And newborn. Smooth and translucent skin, except for absorbing the bloody evil spirit. There will be the same coquettish red light on the surface. Almost indistinguishable from the skin of a newborn baby. Even more full of vitality and vitality. See that? Turn your back to Unohana Retsu. While Bai Chen was feeling the evil spirit subtly. With a faint smile on his face, he said with a confident chuckle. Maybe you think I'm bloated. But really I'm just telling the truth. What's more, what you hold in your hand now is just an imitation scimitar wooden sword. Not my sharp Zanpakuto. The implication of these words is obvious. Not enough. Keep chopping hard. No matter how many times you swing the machete and wooden sword. Bai Chen also has enough self-confidence, while constantly absorbing evil spirits. There won't be any cut marks on my body at all. Hee. That's how it is. It seems that the really superficial person should be me. After a moment of stunned, Unohana Retsu finally recovered. Looking at Bai Chen's back, his gaze gradually became complicated. Although it was known in advance, Bai Chen owns 560 and has a healing ability comparable to full-level Kido. But when you witness this ability with your own eyes, only then did Unohana Retsu realize how terrifying the Muji healing is. And by virtue of this god-level skills, Bai Chen is indeed able to continuously absorb evil spirits without injury. Bai Chen, I've temporarily changed my mind now. 3 days is too long for you. Unohana Retsu was talking. Slowly raised his hand and raised the wooden sword again. The killing intent in the blood-colored eyes instantly condensed into ultimate. 3 hours. I want to use the fiercest attack. Let the evil spirit absorbed in your body reach saturation in the shortest possible time. Finished speaking, Sister Hua raised her sword and dropped it. Scimitar and wooden sword violently slashing head-on. On Bai Chen's back again, a terrifying blood-colored slash was left. Next second, Muji healing, ability activated. The wound is healed, the skin is regenerated, and the evil spirit is absorbed in the body. Come again, Captain Unohana Retsu, I hope that you can unreservedly display all the moves of the 8,000 swordsmanship in the process of slashing. Bai Chen said expectantly. He didn't just want to absorb and blend in with the bloody evil spirit. Also hoped to take the opportunity to master every sword technique and slashing technique of Yakiryu Kendo. As you wish, Unohana Retsu's eyes were fixed. It was another violent slash, showing a new slashing technique. And next, slash, hurt, heal. The same process lasted for 3 full hours. And in this process, every activation of the Muji healing ability, the bloody evil spirit will be more perfectly combined with Bai Chen's body. And with the blessing of the ultimate sage body. From a slight fusion at the beginning, it gradually became a part of Reiatsu. Even at the 3rd hour, Unohana Retsu was shocked to find out the power of her sword technique. The evil spirit attached to it. It has been completely invalid for Bai Chen. It also means, by means of the most savage violence, Bai Chen in less than half a day, perfectly controlled the bloody evil spirit. And double happiness. Under the tutelage of Unohana Retsu, I learned Yakiryu Kendo at the same time. And Bai Chen's Kendo strength. It has also resulted in a huge improvement. Even directly touched the threshold of the great swordsman. Chapter 77. Soul Movement. The second template awakens. Advertise here. Time flies. In the process of constant injury and healing. Before I knew it, 3 long hours had passed. Shin. When Unohana Retsu swung his sword for the last time, Bai Chen was no longer defenseless, but turned around and fought back. Accompanied by a burst of flames splashing violent collision sound. When 2 scimitar wooden swords are parrying each other. Between the blades, the red light is dazzling, and it is actually accompanied by a bloody evil spirit. Bai Chen, it's really unexpected. In just 3 hours, you actually did it. At this time, Unohana Retsu's eyes, the indifferent expression gradually receded, and the eyes became clear again. When looking at Bai Chen, the facial expressions have also become extremely complicated. As if looking at a miraculous thing beyond her vision. Captain Unohana Retsu, thanks to your all-out support. If it weren't for your dedication and unreserved dedication, it's impossible for me to do it in just 3 hours. It's so easy to learn Yachi Ryu Kendo. Aware of today's Sister Hua has exited the status of first-generation Kenpachi. When he changed back to the gentle and graceful medical captain before. In Bai Chen's words, full of gratitude, and from the bottom of my heart, I would like to express my respect and gratitude to Sister Hua. Now, after learning Yachi Ryu Kendo, Bai Chen can also be regarded as a teacher of Unohana Retsu, and has become the only student she has taught personally for thousands of years. The relationship between the two. As a result, it went one step further and became even closer. Bai Chen, you are welcome. During those last 3 hours, I have refelt the joy and enjoyment that I haven't felt for many years. Instead, I should be the one to say thank you. Put away the machete wooden sword. Unohana Retsu no longer has frost on her face. A graceful smile appeared on her fair and beautiful face. She is like a reasonable, understanding lady. The gentle voice is like a ray of warm wind. Inadvertently, heal all tiredness and fatigue. It makes Bai Chen feel relaxed physically and mentally again. As if because of Sister Hua's soft words. And looking for a comfortable, gentle haven. Bai Chen, next, please do your best. Show me the results of your practice in these 3 hours. Unohana Retsu smiled. One side actively retreated to the side. Enough space is reserved for Bai Chen to show off his sword skills. No problem. I just use the simplest ii chop. Come and test the power of my sword skill after perfectly merging the bloody evil spirit. Bai Chen nodded. Immediately, both hands firmly grasped the hilt of the scimitar wooden sword. Boom. Without exuding Reiatsu, relying on a further aura, and because he has learned the Yachi Ryu Kendo. A brand new perception. When Bai Chen holds a wooden sword and draws the sword forward. A wind wave formed by sharp sword energy. Surrounding Bai Chen's body, it exploded violently. Immediately hit the roof of the killing gas stone. The entire dojo shook violently again. Good. The momentum is impeccable. Now the potential has been achieved. The next step is to see how the skill is. Unohana Retsu commented with satisfaction. Bai Chen's aura are undoubtedly at the level of sword and magnificence. At the moment when holding the sword, it will be able to exude on its own, comparable to Reiatsu's sword-swinging momentum. Look at the whole Soul Society. And the whole Gote 13. There will never be more than 5 people who can do this. And next, the moment when the momentum reaches its peak. Bai Chen's confident voice suddenly rang out. 8,000 streams of swordsmanship. This moment, the sword on Bai Chen's body shook. All of a sudden, they were all dyed crimson. It looks like blood, which is creepy. Although it seems so far. This bloody evil spirit condensed by Bai Chen. Not as big as Unohana Retsu for the time being. But this is just Bai Chen's first try. In the case of lack of proficiency, this is the most perfect effect he can do. The first time I tried to control the evil spirit. Has it reached such a level of proficiency? Look at Bai Chen holding the sword in both hands. Unohana Retsu's beautiful eyes can't help but shine. Eyes full of admiration and exclamation. Inadvertently pleased by Bai Chen again. But before Miss Hua recovered, when Bai Chen was about to slash, he heard an energetic voice. Sword skill, Juhei slash. Hold the handle. The scimitar and wooden sword are raised above the head. The blade has a curved and upturned blade surface. Driven by Bai Chen's thoughts, blood-red evil spirit entangled. When Bai Chen faces the air in front of him, do your best, swing the wooden sword vigorously, and slash it down in the air. Incomparably powerful sword energy, under the blessing of evil spirit. It directly turned into a round of blood-red crescent slash. The head-on bombardment hit the murderous stone barrier. Boom. There was a loud bang. The air burst. The sword is pressed after the hit. A terrifying explosion was formed. Not only did it instantly detonate all the spiritual particles in the air, even because it is too powerful, break through all the suppression and restraint, carrying a huge wave of white smoke and dust, directly blow up the rune restriction and the murderous stone barrier together. What? This ancient dojo was actually blown up. This is just the most common starting move, the ordinary II slash. In order to be affected by the blast wave, when the smoke wave was about to spread, Unohana Retsu's figure had already retreated quickly. It's just that in the process of retreating the figure, her fair and pretty face was hidden under the black hair. The whole face is full of horror. The scene in front of her made her pale. At the same time, not just Unohana Retsu, because the roof of the dojo was directly penetrated by the sword pressure air wave. This burst of exaggerated movement not only broke the team building of the 4th Division, but also Roten Chen for his daily work. There was also a commotion. Attract all the officers and soldiers to this side. Impossible. The dojo was actually penetrated directly. What the hell happened inside? This aura isn't Captain Unohana Retsu, is it? He looked up and stared into the air. After breaking through the roof, he looked at the red air wave that soared into the sky. Katetsu Aizen's expression changes slightly. He covered his mouth in horror. The uneasiness in my heart spread like weeds. She couldn't imagine it. What a powerful sword skill slash wave is. Only in front of Unohana Retsu can he soar into the sky with incomparable strength. Could it be that Bai Chen has been promoted to become a swordsman? This cultivation speed is too fast. This idea came to mind. But Katetsu Aizen not only didn't find it ridiculous. On the contrary, it is subconsciously thinking that Bai Chen's becoming stronger is a matter of course. Sword hero suddenly became worthless because of Bai Chen. Yang Yin's side. The third seat, Yijang Chunbashi Janhe, teased with a wry smile. Really outrageous. Most people don't talk about 3 hours. Even 3 years, 30 years, or even hundreds of years. It is not necessarily possible to go further in the dew of the sword. But Bai Chen only took 3 hours. And easily touched the threshold of swordsman. This kind of cultivation speed makes the 3 views explode. It completely made the members of the 4th team feel unacceptable. At the same time, because the dojo was destroyed, the murderous stone barrier and the rune restriction have completely failed. So this time the kendo sparring finally stop here. Bai Chen, your performance today was perfect. In the past 3 hours, we have had a great time getting along with each other. Unohana Retsu looked up. When looking at Bai Chen, a smile appeared on his face. This time, it's a kendo sparring. It's actually more like an individual lecture. At the same time, it is also an in-depth exchange of mind between each other. And after this practice, whether it's out of appreciation or recognition of Bai Chen's strength, even Sister Hua felt it herself. The relationship between her and Bai Chen has obviously gone a step further. Not colleagues. Nor is it superior or inferior. It's about being able to open up and tell each other about your secret relationship. Quote. Captain Unohana Retsu, thank you for your care and dedication to teaching. I am honored to have learned the 8000 style kendo of 1st generation Kenpachi. Bai Chen nodded slightly. Thanks again. But the only regret is that I failed to break through to the realm of great swordsman. It seems that in terms of mood, it still takes time to accumulate precipitation. Bai Chen shook his head. He muttered with a regretful expression. Bai Chen, don't lose heart. Don't forget that we still have an agreement next time. The future waits until the moment when you are about to break through in terms of state of mind. Let's continue this interrupted sword skill exchange. Unohana Retsu smiled softly, trying to soothe Bai Chen's lost emotions with the most friendly smile. I see. Thank you Captain Unohana Retsu for your instruction. The day I want to break through, it shouldn't be too long. Bai Chen bowed down respectfully. I will keep the agreement with Sister Hua in my heart. At the same time, he returned the wooden sword in his hand and gradually calmed down. By the way, Bai Chen, bring 2 scimitar wooden swords. After repositioning it back to its original position, Unohana Retsu came to Bai Chen and started a new topic. I just vaguely felt it. Your soul. It seems that some kind of mutation has occurred. Cause Reiatsu and Momo gradually become less stable. Is it because of the absorption of evil spirits, causing some things to awaken? Unohana Retsu restrained her smile. The expression gradually became serious. At the same time, he probed Bai Chen's body up and down with caring eyes. As a person who has practiced medicine for thousands of years, any abnormal fluctuations on the spiritual body, there's no way for the money that it's going to fool Unohana Retsu's keen senses. You found out all this. Bai Chen was stunned. I didn't expect Sister Wa to teach kendo in addition to teaching. He actually cared extra about his own abnormal state of the soul. What a beautiful person. As a doctor, I will try my best to help those in need as much as I can. Unohana Retsu said flatly. Well, Captain Unohana Retsu, I appreciate your active concern. But you may not be able to help me with this matter. Bai Chen sighed. Why? Unohana Retsu frowned. She very much hopes to help Bai Chen. That is because, gazing at Sister Hua's gaze, Bai Chen did not deliberately conceal, but took the initiative to tell frankly. Maybe it's because of absorbing evil spirit, leading inside my astral, which is Zanpakuto's soul space. The second sword spirit that has been hidden. It seems that I will wake up soon. Speaking of which, Bai Chen's eyes became extremely hot. In fact, it is exactly as he said. Affected by the bloody evil spirit. In the soul space, it is located in the Valley B of the End. The statue of Uchiha Madara is clearly showing signs of recovery. This moment. Top. Bai Chen even has a strong intuition. As long as he puts on the blade cicada posture now. Bring your own awareness into the soul space. You will be able to see it immediately, the brand new second sword spirit. And that also means the time is ripe for the Six Paths Madara template awakening. Chapter 78 Sign into the Zaraki district. Dual lines Zanpakuto. Advertise here. Night. Leaving from the 4th team building. After returning to the team building of the 13th division. In the dead of night, when there are no outsiders disturbing. Bai Chen sat cross-legged in his bedroom. Lay the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, flat on your knees. Just like the previous few times. Deliberately put on the blade zen posture, and then slowly closed his eyes. Not long after, a wave of drowsiness struck. His consciousness gradually became blurred, and he once again entered the soul space. The second template, a brand new sword spirit that represents the power of Six Paths Madara. I don't know how you will greet me. The last moment. Bai Chen was full of anticipation. And make plans to deal with everything. Welcome to. Hostility is also good, no matter what attitude the second knife spirit takes towards him. Bai Chen is confident that he can deal with it calmly. Until you seize this opportunity and open the second template. Soon after, when Bai Chen opened his eyes again. Sure enough, he came to the familiar soul space again. Only, hey, something is wrong. The environment here is completely different from before. Bai Chen just glanced at it. He couldn't help frowning. Because, at this time within his line of sight. Looking around, there are still clouds floating in the sky. But, the blue sky disappeared, replaced by, like a burning cloud, a large area of crimson color. And the black smoke that blocks the light. This is. After a fire burns, the regiment will have the most destruction. I didn't expect, my soul space would be attacked by fire. Bai Chen was shocked, for sudden changes, immediately felt extremely surprised. To know, as the birthplace of Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. His soul space is closely related to the wood-style secret technique. Always greenery. There are forests and trees everywhere, like a peaceful paradise. Unexpectedly, because the second template is about to open 510. It actually led to the spread of the fire out of thin air. Even Bai Chen was already mentally prepared. You can face the contrast with the last time you came to the soul space. He was still very uncomfortable for a while. Uchiha Madara. As expected of Senju Hashirama's lifelong enemy. Even if reduced to a part of Zanpakuto's original power. Still going against Senju Hashirama everywhere. But think about it. Bai Chen soon felt relieved. He can guess with his toes. The instigator of this fire must be Uchiha Madara. Although not necessarily his own consciousness. However, it is also a negative sword spirit born from the Six Paths Madara template. Facts. The idea just came up. Just as Bai Chen was going to follow the fire along the way. When setting off towards the Valley of the End, at the end. Suddenly, roar, like an ancient beast, deafening roaring sound. Without warning, it suddenly resounded through the entire soul space. Has it appeared? Bai Chen stopped in his tracks. With cautious eyes, inquire about the source of the sound. Not long after, it landed at the end of his line of sight. A huge figure formed by swarming and converging blazing flames. Like an ancient beast that destroys the world, it suddenly descended on this piece of severely damaged forest land. That's right, this is Nine-Tails Demon Fox. Bai Chen's pupils shrank suddenly. Through the huge flame shape, the other party's identity was recognized at a glance. Impressively, it was when he fought against Sunayashiro Tokinada before. After looting the power of Hungry Corridor, I once fantasized briefly about the 9 tails summoned by summoning. I didn't expect. Now it's a dream come true. The legendary 9 tails actually appeared in the soul space. But excitement is one thing. Naturally, Bai Chen would not think so naively. The roar that 9 tails just made was because he specially welcomed him. Obviously, it's the same wood dragon as before. They all hope to expel themselves from the soul space. It also means, I want to move on next. Arrive at the Valley of the End again and see the 2 statues. Violence must be countered with violence. Use the power of the wooden dragon to suppress the 9 tails demon fox. And just when Bai Chen thought so, roar, 9 tails made of condensed flames. Once again he let out a sullen growl strong enough to pierce eardrums. Immediately after, the huge body stomps the ground. In the loud bang, it flew towards Bai Chen. Call. When I was in the ninja world, the suppression of 9 tails. It was done by Senju Hashirama. Now it's my turn as the owner of the Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. Face off against the menacing 9 tails fox. Even within the line of sight, the surging flames burned blazingly. But Bai Chen's expression, there is no trace of waves. Standing there calmly, he reached out to touch Zanpakuto at his waist. Grow, birth of the tree world. Because we are in the soul space. Because Bai Chen does not need to deliberately liberate Zanpakuto. But a thought, it is to instantly release the wood-style secret technique. And with the sound of drinking. The next moment. Boom. The earth is torn apart. Originally because of the burning of the fire. And the scorched ground created a wave of sand and dust that was 100 meters high out of thin air. And in this process, one after another bottomless pitch-black ground fissures. Like a spider web, along the bottom of Bai Chen's feet. Rapidly spread towards the surroundings. The high-frequency vibrations caused even made the 9 tails demon foxes rushing towards them. The incomparably huge body was also almost unstable due to standing. And almost fell into a fissure. Boom. Before 9 tails could start roaring. Countless huge tree roots shot up from the ground fissure continuously. While exuding bright green light. Grow and grow at an unimaginable speed. In the blink of an eye, it becomes a vast and dense forest. Come on, 9 tails. Once you step into this forest, you will be bound by trees and vines. The flame attribute power in the body will also be plundered in an instant. Summons the forest of trees. After reversing the landscape. The corner of Bai Chen's mouth curled up in a confident arc. And hold a knife in one hand. Standing posture with confidence. It looks like a hunter who has just set a trap. Waiting for the prey to throw themselves into the net. The scene that happened next. Just as Bai Chen expected. Driven by hostility, even knowing that the forest is a trap. 9 tails demon fox still doesn't pay attention. BDAJ. Huge incomparable body, wrapped around a flame-like tail beast coat. Roaring, extremely angry, waving the flame claws. Crazy slaps to Bai Chen. However, entangle, wooden dragon technique. Hold the knife with one hand. Bai Chen's shout sounded again. The next moment, with the movement of the soil and the continuous swaying of the trees. The size is not inferior to the huge wooden dragon of 9 tails. Soar up from the torn earth. With a soaring posture, he struck forward with incomparable might. Boom. In the dark red eyes of the 9 tails demon fox. The winding body of the wooden dragon is directly entwining it. When the thick wooden body is heavily crushed on the body. The 9 tails demon fox suddenly let out a howl of resentment. And the fire on it. Because it was obviously suppressed. Dim quickly in an instant. The fiery red light is gradually replaced by green suppression. I should be honest now. No matter how brutal your strength is. I am the master of this soul space. Bai Chen stood still. A confident smile appeared on Jun Lang's face. Through communicating with the wooden dragon's mind. Bai Chen clearly felt that there was a secret technique different from wood style. Incredibly hot, burning, flame red Reiatsu. After being plundered by the wooden dragon, he gradually merged into his own soul. The power of fire. After absorbing the power of 9 tails and opening the second template. Shouldn't I awaken another brand new Zanpakuto of the hot type? This moment, Bai Chen suddenly had a bold idea. Strong intuition told him that there was nothing but Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. One with 9 tails, and Uchiha Madara. The all-new Zanpakuto that connects. Coming soon. I didn't expect. I actually have double knives. And there are 2 Zanpakuto with completely different powers and attributes. The more you think about it, Bai Chen became more and more excited. The anticipation and longing in the eyes are almost overflowing. To know, currently in the entire Soul Society, there are only 2 known pairs of Zanpakuto in Japan. And they are the Zanpakuto of 2 acquaintances. Kaden Kyokutsu of Kyoraku Shunsui. And Jashiro Yukitaki's double fish carp. And now. Top of this list, a new name will be added soon. Following Bai Chen's wooden dragon. A Zanpakuto of the hot type that opens simultaneously with the second template. At the same time, even after being suppressed by the wooden dragon. The 9 tails demon fox is unrestrained and struggling desperately. But, face the growing trees. Let it tear, break, and burn as much as you want. In the end, he still couldn't break free from the entanglement of the wooden dragon. Roar. That's all. In one after another unwilling roar. Thanks to Reiatsu. Continuously suffered a lot of looting. And the body of Nine-Tails Demon Fox. It itself is condensed by flames. Therefore, in the case of Reiatsu depletion, the figure of Nine-Tails gradually became dim and sleepless. And as the flames went out one after another, they were finally completely absorbed by the wooden dragon. FJ finally suppressed the riotous Nine-Tails forces. At this time, when Bai Chen looked around again, discovered the red in the sky, fading at a speed visible to the naked eye. Back to the blue sky and white clouds. And in the surrounding forests and land, all the burning flames were extinguished. When the fiery red light dissipated little by little, the whole soul space get green again, back to its former vigor. But, due to excessive energy consumption, before Bai Chen could move on, the valley of the end at the end of the sky. His consciousness, forced out of soul space, back to the real world again. Quote. It's a pity, I didn't make it all the way to the end. Otherwise, you should be able to hear the voice of the second Zanpakuto, right? Bai Chen slowly opened his eyes. Just when he felt full of regret. Suddenly new check-in task released. No time limit, please go to No. 80, North Rukongai, Zaraki District. Sign in. After signing in, you will get a special reward. Open the second template and awaken the dual element Zanpakuto, hot element. The moment when the beep sounded, in Bai Chen's pitch black eyes, ecstasy suddenly emerged. Knew it. I didn't guess wrong just now. The appearance of Nine-Tails is not accidental. It represents a brand new Zanpakuto of hot line. This moment, Bai Chen's heart is full of anticipation. He can't wait to go to the Zaraki area to check in. At the same time, I couldn't help looking forward to it. This one represents the Nine-Tails, and the fiery Zanpakuto of the power of Uchiha Madara. How powerful will it be? Chapter 79 Purify the Evil Spirits. Espada's enemy attack. Advertise here. Time flies. Half a month passed in a blink of an eye. This time, Bai Chen has been very busy. As the third seat of the 13th Division, he also serves as an assistant to the adjutant. During the day, he has to learn various matters. And also assist Shiba Kaien to deal with cumbersome team affairs. And every night, the only thing Bai Chen can do is continue to practice Blade Zen. Pass again and again, consciousness continues to enter the soul space. Bai Chen is becoming more and more familiar with it, and can control it perfectly. That newly fused flame attribute Reiatsu. Of course. Due to the check-in task. Not yet done, so practice during this time. Just fusion for Reiatsu, and there is no complete awakening Zanpakuto. Fortunately, just when Bai Chen was going to find a reason. When leaving Saraiti alone, go to the Zaraki area to check in. Jashiro Yukitaki suddenly announced a surprise. At this time, the 13th Division team building. Antique team room. Jashiro Yukitaki sat quietly in front of the wooden desk with a smile on his face. Bai Chen, didn't you keep talking about it before, and wanted to go out for a walk? Now is your chance. This quote from Jashiro Yukitaki instantly lit up Bai Chen's eyes. Captain Jashiro. Is there a new task that I need to perform? Where is the location? Real world or Rukongai? Bai Chen asked expectantly. Actually, even if Jashiro Yukitaki doesn't mention it, he was also going to find an excuse to forcefully leave Saraiti temporarily. Let's finish the sign-in task first. You who were born in Rukongai. I must be very clear about the geographical composition of the entire Soul Society. Jashiro Yukitaki didn't answer directly. Instead, asked Bai Chen. Certainly. Bai Chen nodded noncommittally. Then he said the common sense that almost most souls know. The entire Rukongai is divided into 4 areas, east, west, north, south, with a total of 320 blocks. And the later the serial number, the closer it is to the edge of the Soul Society, the worse the neighborhood environment will be. Speaking of which, Bai Chen asked rhetorically on a whim. Captain Jashiro, could it be that you want me to lead the 13th squad? Go to a certain edge area and perform a purification mission. The voice just fell. Jashiro Yukitaki's smile deepened. Thumbs up and appreciating. Bai Chen, really deserves to be you. Almost all of them have been guessed by you. The last block in North Rukongai, Zaraki District. You should have heard of it. If you talk about the previous dialogue. It just made Bai Chen look forward to it. Then Jashiro Yukitaki asked in a deliberately deep voice at the end. And it made Bai Chen instantly feel like he was about to be stunned by happiness. Zaraki District. Bai Chen's heart beat faster. But he didn't wait for him to react. Jashiro Yukitaki went on to say. That's right. The location of the purification mission this time. It is the notorious Zaraki area. You also know that is the block with the last number. The environment in the Zaraki district is extremely harsh, almost to the point where no grass can grow. The souls living there can only compete for the right to live with each other through years of killing. Over time, resentment accumulates. It will easily breed evil spirits. After a brief explanation, Jashiro Yukitaki gets the quest theme straight to the point. Evil spirit, are you referring to Shu? Bai Chen asked subconsciously. He was very clear in his heart. In addition to the reasons Jashiro Yukitake just said. Also because the Zaraki district is close to the border of the Soul Society. Even if there are occasional ghosts. It's normal too. That's right, but for some reason, it seems to have started decades ago. Appearing around the Zaraki area, the number of ghosts is increasing. Gradually it has reached a very unusual level. Jashiro Yukitake frowned. When this matter is brought up, even the well-informed him found it incredible. No matter how barren and remote the Zaraki area is, it's fine. After all, it still belongs to the category of Soul Society. It's not a circle. How could it be reduced to a virtual back garden? This doesn't make sense at all. Decades ago. And the number of virtuals is increasing. Bai Chen frowned. His eyes narrowed in a cautious arc. He only thought for a moment, and a name immediately appeared in his mind. That man, Aizen Sōsuke, if I'm not mistaken. The root cause of the virtual chaos that often occurs in larger areas. It must be caused by Aizen's hollow experiment, right? The time node also coincides perfectly. Think here. Bai Chen can be 100% sure. In the past few decades, it is precisely because of Aizen that a large number of hollow experiments have been carried out. So it leads to Rukongai inside. A lot of strange situations frequently appear in those blocks with lower numbers. And because of Kyoka Suigetsu's abilities. As a result, even the Technology Development Bureau has never been able to investigate the real reason behind it. FFLX, Captain Jashiro, are only members of our 13th squad participating in this purification mission. Bai Chen continued to ask. T. Shook his head. Jashiro Yukitake said with a chuckle, because of the mission there is some danger. In order to avoid casualties, the 4th Division responsible for medical treatment and logistics is naturally indispensable. And they will be led by Lieutenant Katetsu Aizen. Besides, Squad I, the officers and soldiers of the Kido. The experienced Chojiro is in charge of leading the team. He is also the team leader of this purification mission, responsible for the overall situation and responsible for the safety of everyone's lives. Jashiro Yukitake said patiently. I see. Finished listening. Bai Chen nodded. To Jashiro Yukitake, calmly and confidently assured. Captain Jashiro, just don't worry, I will definitely cooperate with the 2 adjutants. Ensure that this cleansing mission will go smoothly in the end, Guy will come back. Not to mention that you will be able to sign into the 2nd Zanpakuto soon. There are Katetsu Aizen and Sparrow Chojiro. Bai Chen is not worried at all, any accidents will happen in the middle. Therefore, this time the purification task. He can just paddle the whole way. Hehe. Bai Chen, with your words, I feel relieved. After explaining, Jashiro Yukitake's expression became relaxed again. In fact, this time the purification task. It was supposed to be carried out by Shiba Kaien as an adjutant. But, in order to let Bai Chen have more opportunities to perform. In order to quickly accumulate prestige and reputation. Jashiro Yukitake made a special substitution. Suggest Bai Chen to join the mission to the captain. And such a decision, it also happened to allow Bai Chen to be justifiable. Go to the Zaraki area to check in. At the same time. Just in the news about the purification mission. When it gradually spread in Serai 5th team building. The Aizen trio who got wind of it. With the ability of Kyoka Suigetsu, the secret conversation was held for the first time. Yeah, Captain Aizen, I really didn't expect. This time, the name of Bai Chen actually appears on the list of executors for the purification task. This is really a rare and God-sent opportunity. Ichimaru Jin picked out a fox voice. With a signature Kyoto accent. Asking for flowers. As always, he deliberately fanned the flames. Silver. To lure Shinigami who are capable and qualified to be Hollow's target, and go to the fringes to perform a purification mission. Isn't this exactly the original intention of our Hollow experiment near those areas? Although the tone of voice, as always, calm and indifferent. But under the reflective lens, Aizen's eyes are as black as ink. But flashed an intriguing look. Obviously, in his eyes. This is indeed one of the few. A piece of good news that can stir up mood swings. Captain Aizen, last time in Karakura Town. It has been proven that Arankar at the subordinate officer level is not enough to pose the slightest threat to Bai Chen. Ichimaru Jin squinted his eyes. A sinister look flashed in his eyes. Looking at Aizen, he asked with a smile. So. Should the espada above the subordinate officers be dispatched this time? The chaotic zone in the Zaraki area is the most suitable battlefield. Iconic fox smile makes Ichimaru Jin look like a lion majesty who chooses to eat. Whenever he seizes the opportunity, he will definitely devour the enemy alive without hesitation. Master Aizen, I agree with Ichimaru Jin's proposal. 0. At this moment, blind Tusen Kanami volunteered. I can even use the cover of my black cloak if need be. In the hour of night, repeat the same trick. Use Suzumushi's Bankai to kill Bai Chen and others. It's the same as it was against Hiroko Shinji and the others. Tusen Kanami's voice was ruthless. It is determined that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to kill Bai Chen while taking advantage of the chaos. However, Tusen Kanami's voice, it even just came out. Immediately, he was coldly rejected by Aizen. No. Yes, I understand your loyalty. But this time, there is no need for us to do it ourselves. Aizen shook his head indifferently. Said cautiously and indifferently. Bai Chen is not Hiroko Shinji. The details of his full strength are only exposed at the tip of the iceberg. Unless you can really recruit. Fate, kill him. Otherwise, acting rashly will only increase the risk of our exposure. Even after witnessing it many times. And witness and feel, the strength of Zanpakuto, wooden dragon, after liberation. For this wooden Zanpakuto whose attack power is comparable to Ryujin Jaka. Stronger than Aizen. Been in control for years. Still not holding a contemptuous attitude. On the contrary, I hope to go further and test the upper limit of Zanpakuto, wooden dragon. Therefore, Yami, Ulquiorra, if the two of them act together this time. Surely we can extract all the details of Bai Chen, right? In Aizen's indifferent pupils, shining with the light of wisdom. He was not a random candidate who was sent out on a whim. It's because of the combination of Yami and Ulquiorra. One is the hidden, Zero, Espada. One is Hueco Mundo's Fuvasto Lord class Arankar. The most important is, Ulquiorra's inborn ability, shared vision. Able to crush eyeballs. Take all the pictures you see. Share it with your peers through image projection. In Aizen's view, through this special recording method. And the terrifying combat power of the Black Winged Demon. Be sure to be foolproof and record the full power of Bai Chen. Tisk tisk tisk. 2 espadas at once, and still the most loyal Ulquiorra. Ichimaru Jin grinned, sneered like a lion majesty. It seems that this time Bai Chen is likely to be more ominous, again. Chapter 80 Let's Dance. Extinguish the fan with fire. Zaraki Kenpachi strikes. Advertise here. Time flies. Soon the appointed time came. Early in the morning, Bai Chen was at the gate of the team building of the 13th Division. Relevant personnel who participated in this purification mission. All the officers and soldiers were called together. Then lead them away. We rushed to the assembly point Baidaemon. And along the way, Bai Chen was not uncommonly flattered by the members of the 13th squad. Bai Chen 3 seats, for the next period of time, I will thank you for your protection. With you here, everyone feels safe in their hearts. In the process of purifying the evil spirits, please give me your advice. Facing the flattery of everyone, Bai Chen responded with a polite smile one by one. Don't say anything else. This is his first time leading a team on a mission. And in the absence of Shiba Kaiyan, Jushiro Yukitaki. Therefore, as the 3rd seat of the 13th Division. Until this purification task is successfully completed. Bai Chen is obliged to bring everyone back to Seraiti safe and sound. And he thought so too. Soon after, when a group of people arrived at Baidaemon. Sure enough, I saw 2 familiar faces here. Team 4, Katetsu Azane. Team I, Sparrow Step Leader, 437, Jiro. Bai Chen. Meet Bai Chen. The two greeted each other warmly. Although this purification operation, only their 2 adjutants participated. But there is Bai Chen, the captain-level super strong combat power. Don't worry about going wrong halfway. There are quite a lot of people. It seems that the captain attaches great importance to this purification operation. Bai Chen glanced at it. It was discovered that the medical staff of the 4th team were counted. There are as many as several hundred people participating in the evolution operation this time. Such a huge lineup. In the past few years, it is also extremely rare. Bai Chen. Because of the large number of people, and in order to sweep all the way. So we'll be in the Zaraki district in about 3 days. Afterwards, there will be a large-scale purification of virtual chaos, there, and in the fringe areas farther away. As for the whole process, I will leave it to the old man to coordinate and distribute. Come to Bai Chen, Sparrow Chojiro told patiently. And patted Bai Chen on the shoulder, and gave him a look of trust. No problem. During the mission, whenever necessary. Vice Captain Sasaki, despite the order. Bai Chen nodded slightly. Politely replied, as long as you have a good relationship with the Western old man. Then for a long time. Then you can focus on the 2nd Zanpakuto with peace of mind. And for the next 3 days. After crossing almost the entire northern Rukongai. The huge purification troop finally arrived at Ku's place. Block 80, Zaraki District. Ding. Host has been detected and has arrived within the range of the check-in location. Do you want to sign in immediately? At the same time. In Bai Chen's mind, the system prompt sounded at the right time. But, even if you want to confirm immediately. But he glanced at the hundreds of colleagues around him. Bai Chen held back for now. The journey was exhausting. And the current purification task has not been properly arranged. I can only find a remote location later, and then sign in. Resist the urge to sign in right away. Bai Chen finally held back for the time being. Without thinking too much, I followed the crowd and went deep into the Zaraki area together. After half a day, suddenly a large number of Shinigami appeared. Naturally, the residents of the Zaraki district were alarmed. Because it is the neighborhood with the worst law and order environment. None of them. Therefore, residents here, either a famous hero, either a fighting soul, all without exception, everyone is hostile to Shinigami. For their coming from afar, I also hold an attitude of repulsion and disgust. At this time, in the depths of the Zaraki district, in a dilapidated area, a sinister laugh full of disdain broke the original silence. Oh, Gote 13, those Shinigami, it's really annoying to come here all the way. At least during the time they are stationed, they can only temporarily be forced to keep their own place. Marble head, a piece of baldness. Not a single hair in sight. Madarame Makaku with narrow eyelids, eyelid position, and red eye shadow. Towards the other three companions in front of them. He complained with disdain. One corner, almost enough. It is said that among these Shinigami, there are at least 3 captain-level fighters. They are not easy to mess with. Madarame Makaku had just finished speaking. Another feminine voice continued the topic. Impressively, he was wearing plain clothes. In terms of appearance, it is more neutral. A Yasugawa, who has a delicate face, bows. However, a Yasugawa is planning to persuade his best friend not to be impulsive. Try to keep a low profile during this time, in case there is an accidental conflict with Shinigami. But in front of the two of them, the figure of the evil spirit sitting upright. But with a look of disdain, he grinned grimly and mocked in a low voice. Oh, boss, since when did you become so courageous? Hair tied in bunches. The hideous Zaraki Kenpachi. When grinning, the corners of the mouth showed sharp vertical teeth. Like a devouring beast, it seems that the Shinigami have been regarded as food to be hunted. Boss Zaraki, you misunderstood, I didn't say I was afraid of Shinigami. Despite being taunted to the face by Zaraki Kenpachi. However, a Yasugawa bowed and smiled unabated. When looking at Zaraki Kenpachi, he didn't show any fear. Instead, full of awe and admiration. Yeah, I seem to have heard you mention. Among these hundreds of Shinigami, there are actually 3 captain-level fighters. This should be a fake news. Zaraki Kenpachi grinned. He asked back with a strong questioning tone. How to say? Boss Zaraki, have you already sensed it secretly? Madarame Makaku raised an eyebrow. Zaraki Kenpachi's perception is strong. Strong enough to cover the entire Zaraki district. Once there is any intrusion of foreign breath, they will be scouted by this beast-like man immediately. That's right, it is undeniable that Shinigami are outnumbered. But I didn't feel any decent momentum in it. Obviously, these Shinigami are just a bunch of rabble. Lousy doesn't bother to do anything to them. If there are outsiders. You must be shocked by Zaraki Kenpachi's words. As a wandering soul. But he threatened that the entire purification team and all Shinigami members are rubbish. Behavior of Zaraki Kenpachi. Simply arrogant. Ah. Xiao Jian is good. Otherwise, you, who are belligerent, will definitely not be able to help but trouble the Shinigami. I'm afraid you're going to cut down all the Shinigami. At this moment, Zaraki Kenpachi's shoulder, a cute lowly head popped out. Under short pink hair, Kusajishi Yakiru looks like a porcelain doll. Said in a cute and childish voice. But, before Zaraki Kenpachi responded. Suddenly, without warning, the edge of the Zaraki district, the area near the border of the Soul Society. Suddenly there was a riot. Boom. Without warning. It was a cloudless sky. As if affected by the high temperature, it suddenly roared and vibrated. Quote question mark exclamation mark quote. What's the situation? Such a huge movement is not like the reaction you should have to deal with ordinary shu. This moment, Zaraki Trio, and Yakiryu. Everyone's complexion changed suddenly, and they looked up into the air in unison. While they're looking out, soon, I was shocked to find that the spiritual seeds in the air were burning strangely and violently. And at a speed visible to the naked eye. Connected from top to bottom, forming a huge and incomparable. Exuding scorching red light, the Hoshin Lingbao beam of light. This is a sign of Zanpakuto's liberation. A fiery Zanpakuto powerful enough to cause catastrophe. He was stunned for a moment. Zaraki Kenpachi's expression instantly becomes excited 3.8. He grinned ferociously, and in the depths of his pupils, a boiling fighting spirit was ignited. This beam of flame soaring into the sky, and the powerful Reiatsu emanating from within. Even at a certain distance, it still awakened Zaraki Kenpachi's boiling fighting spirit that had been silent for a long time. He couldn't even wait. I want to go to the source of the Reiatsu outbreak immediately to find out. At the same time, Reiatsu beam of light on the soaring flames suddenly alarmed the entire Zaraki district. At the bottom of this flame beam of light, Bai Chen is signing in. Ding. The next step is to officially sign in. The sign-in time is 5 seconds, and if you quit halfway, it will be considered a failure. When the short countdown ends, Bai Chen finally got his wish and unlocked the second template. And, also awakened independent of the wooden dragon. A brand new, fiery, hot Zanpakuto. And this moment, in Bai Chen's mind, there was also a loud voice. Spray the breath of flames. Burn the body of the enemy. Burning flames. Let's dance. Huahuo put out the fan.